That's my mom, Evan said, but at Christmas, she's basically the help. The woman beside him laughed because he had laughed first. It was a quick, uncertain sound, the kind people make when they've been handed a joke and can't find a safe place to set it down. June stood 6 feet away with a black trash bag gathered in one hand. She had flour on her sleeve and a damp half-moon at the waist of her apron. She looked at our son. Then she looked at me. Not angry, not yet. She looked at me as if she were waiting to see which man I was going to be. Evan noticed the silence and lifted both hands. Oh, come on. You know what I mean. I did know what he meant. That was the problem. 9 hours earlier, June had been humming in our kitchen while she wrapped a pan of rolls in 2 layers of foil. They'll keep better if you put a towel over them, she said. I have a towel. That's the one you used on the cooler. It's a different kind of Christmas towel. She stopped humming and gave me the look that had kept me from making serious household decisions for 41 years. I found another towel. The sun wasn't fully up yet. Our kitchen windows reflected the room back at us. June in dark slacks and a red sweater, me in a flannel shirt. Both of us moving among enough food for a small church fundraiser. The ham was in a roasting pan on the counter. 2 casseroles waited by the back door. June's orange cranberry relish sat in a container with blue painter's tape across the lid because Evan had once mistaken it for salsa and complained for 3 days. June checked the time. He said 9, I told her. He said by 9. It's 7:20. Exactly. I leaned against the counter. You know his oven works without you standing near it. He hasn't used it enough to establish trust. Between you and the oven, between Evan and anything that gets hotter than a toaster. She smiled, but she was already counting serving spoons. This was Evan and Claire's first Christmas in the remodeled house. They had knocked out 2 walls, raised 1 ceiling, and installed a kitchen island large enough to perform minor surgery on. For the last month, Evan had sent us pictures of light fixtures, place settings, and a dining table that looked too elegant to eat anything with gravy on. He wanted everything to go well. That was how June phrased it. He wants everything to go well. It covered a lot of territory in our family. Evan had called 3 weeks earlier to ask if June would make her ham, then the rolls, then the sweet potatoes because Claire's father liked them, then the green beans because Claire's mother didn't care for sweet potatoes. Dessert came 2 days later in a text that began with, "Don't feel obligated, Mom," and ended with a photograph of June's pecan cake from the previous Thanksgiving. I had watched each request arrive. I had even said, "You love doing this stuff," June had answered. "I do." That had seemed like the end of the conversation. We loaded the car in the gray morning. June carried the relish and cake while I took the heavier pans. She went back inside twice, once for the rolls and once because she couldn't remember whether she had unplugged the coffee maker. She had. On the road, Christmas music played low enough that we could criticize it without turning it off. June kept one hand on the cooler between her feet whenever I took a corner. You know, I said, normal people buy food closer to where they plan to eat it. Normal people put raisins in stuffing. Some normal people. Not in my car. At a red light, I glanced over. You excited? She looked surprised by the question. Of course. That wasn't an accusation. I know. She adjusted the towel over the rolls. It'll be nice having everyone together. Everyone meant Claire's parents, Claire's older sister and her husband, our daughter Kate, and a collection of adult cousins and friends whose names I had been studying like there might be a quiz. It also meant Evan, who had been too busy to visit us since October, but had called his mother 14 times about Christmas dinner. June looked out at the bare trees along the road. He sounded stressed yesterday, she said. He always sounds stressed when he's trying to look relaxed. You could be helpful today. I'm driving a ham across county lines before breakfast. You know what I mean? I did. She wanted me not to needle him. Evan and I had a habit of turning affection into sarcasm and sarcasm into competition. Neither of us ever admitted we were doing it. I'll be a delight, I promised. You're never a delight before 10. Then he shouldn't have said, by 9. We pulled into Evan's driveway at 8:34. His house glowed from every front window. A wreath the size of a truck tire hung on the door, and 2 perfect cedar trees stood in matching planters as if they had been warned not to shed. Evan opened the door before I reached the steps. Thank God. Merry Christmas to you, too. He ignored me, took the cake from June, and kissed her cheek. You're a lifesaver. June lit up. That was the thing people missed. She didn't only tolerate being needed. She enjoyed the moment someone's face softened because she had arrived. It was one of the ways she loved people, and maybe one of the ways she allowed herself to be loved. Claire came down the hall carrying a stack of folded napkins. She wore jeans and an oversized blue shirt, her blonde hair clipped messily behind her head. "You're early," she said, then looked at the cake in Evan's hands. "You made her bring dessert?" "I didn't make her. I wanted to," June said. Claire kissed June and gave me a one-armed hug. "I'm sorry. He's been up since 5 moving chairs." "The chairs kept being wrong," Evan said. "They were chairs. They blocked the flow." I looked past him. The foyer contained 6 dining chairs and 2 opposing rows. "What flow?" I asked. "Airport security?" June touched my arm without looking at me. "Delightful," her fingers reminded me. The kitchen was beautiful. White cabinets, brass handles, pale stone counters, and hanging lights that made everybody look slightly better rested than they were. It was also a disaster. Grocery bags covered half the island. A cardboard box of wine sat on the floor. 3 unopened packages of candles rested in the sink. Something brown had hardened around the rim of a saucepan. June stopped just inside the room. Evan spoke quickly. "Most of it's done." "What is?" Claire asked. "I mean, most of what we had to do before they got here. We cleaned. I cleaned. You moved clutter into the guest room. That's a recognized form of cleaning." June had already set down her purse. "What time are people coming?" she asked. 2, mostly. "Dinner at 5:30. Where's the ham going?" Evan pointed at the oven as if pleased to know the answer. Within 10 minutes, June had taken off her red sweater, folded it over the back of a chair, and tied on an apron Claire found in a drawer. I carried pans, open jars, and was sent to a grocery store for unsalted butter, fresh rosemary, and ice. "Why ice?" I asked. "Because we need it," Evan said. "You have a refrigerator that makes ice. It doesn't make party ice." I waited. Claire said, "Don't ask." When I returned, June was standing at the island with a wooden spoon in one hand, while Evan held his phone over her shoulder. "No, the other way," he said. "I'm stirring gravy. It's for a video. Then take a video of someone stirring gravy. I am someone else." He lowered the phone when he saw me. June kept stirring. By noon, I had restrung the lights on the back railing, carried a folding table up from the basement, and moved the 6 dining chairs from the foyer to the living room after Claire threatened to put them on the lawn. June had peeled, chopped, whisked, basted, and quietly corrected 3 mistakes without mentioning any of them. Every time she finished something, Evan discovered another thing. "Mom, where would you put the coffee station? Mom, do you think the rolls should go in a basket? Mom, Claire can't find the good platter." Claire, standing beside him, said, Claire wasn't looking for it. Evan looked at her. "You said we needed it. I said we didn't need it." June stepped between them with a bowl. "Why don't we use this for the rolls?" "Perfect," Evan said, as if he had solved something. Kate arrived at 1 carrying a bottle of wine and wearing a cream-colored coat that had never been near flour. She kissed us both, complimented the kitchen, and stole a corner of pecan cake while June's back was turned. "You're gonna get caught," I told her. "I'm 36. You can get caught at any age." She chewed quickly. "Why is Mom dressed like she works here?" June wore the same dark slacks she had arrived in, but the red sweater was still on the chair. Over her white blouse was Claire's black apron, plain, except for a small embroidered lemon near the pocket. "She's cooking," I said. Kate looked around. "Still?" Before I could answer, Evan called from the dining room. "Mom?" The table runners wrinkled. Kate raised her eyebrows at me. I should have said something then, not something dramatic. Just, "Iron it yourself, Evan." 4 words. Instead, I picked up a piece of cake from June's cutting board and said, "Your brother's trying to impress people." Kate licked frosting from her thumb. God help the people. Guests began arriving at 2. The house filled with perfume, cold air, bottles and gift bags, and voices admiring the renovation. Evan moved among them with a drink in his hand, relaxed now that there were people to see him looking relaxed. June remained in the kitchen. I brought her a glass of wine. She took 1 sip, set it behind the flour canister, and forgot about it. At 3:30, she found there weren't enough clean forks and washed a dozen by hand because the dishwasher was full. At 4, a guest knocked over red wine near the fireplace. Evan called June's name before he called for a towel. She came with club soda. I was opening a second bag of ice when I heard a woman's voice behind me. "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were with the caterer." I turned. June was lifting a Tide trash bag from the kitchen can. The woman speaking to her was Claire's Aunt Diane, though I only remembered that because I had studied the names. Diane touched June's arm, embarrassed. Evan came through the doorway at exactly the wrong moment. Diane said, "I was just apologizing to—" "That's my mom," Evan told her. Then he gave that bright, nervous laugh. "But at Christmas, she's basically the help." This time, nobody laughed for long. June's fingers tightened around the plastic. I set down the ice. "What did you call your mother?" Evan's smile stayed in place, but only because he hadn't figured out how to remove it. "Dad, it was a joke." "Say it again." "Martin," June said quietly. I looked at her. She wasn't asking me to stop. She was warning me not to turn this into one more mess she would have to clean. Evan glanced toward the living room, checking who had heard. That small movement decided it for me. I walked to the chair, picked up June's red sweater, and held it out to her. "Get your coat," I said. June stared at the sweater in my hands. "Martin," she said. Her voice held my name the way you might hold a glass filled too close to the rim. Behind us, the kitchen had gone still. Not silent, the refrigerator hummed. Ice settled in the bag at my feet. Somebody in the living room kept talking about a bowl game, but still in the particular way a room gets when everyone has decided not to be the first person to move. Evan stepped closer. "You're not leaving." It wasn't a question. I held the sweater open. June set the trash bag back in the can and untied Claire's apron. Her hands moved slowly. She folded the apron along its center crease, smoothed it once against the counter, and laid it beside the gravy. "Mom," Evan said, "seriously?" June put on her sweater. Diane had backed toward the doorway. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." "You didn't do anything," June told her. That was true, but Diane looked as if she would have preferred blame. Blame gave people something to apologize for. Witnessing was harder. Evan lowered his voice. "Can we please talk in the other room?" "So fewer people can see?" I asked. He shot me a look. "So, we can talk like a family. You had the chance to speak like family." "Dad, it was one stupid line." Claire appeared in the doorway. She took in June's sweater, the folded apron, and me standing beside the ice. "What happened?" Evan answered too quickly. "Nothing. Dad's turning a joke into a federal case." I had been calm up to that point. I stayed calm, but it required work now. "What was the joke?" Claire looked at him. He rubbed the back of his neck. "Diane thought Mom was catering, and I said she was basically the help. At Christmas, because she does everything." Claire closed her eyes for half a second. "That's not better when you explain it," she said. "Thank you," I said. I didn't say he meant it that way. He meant it enough to say it. Evan's eyes moved toward the doorway again. "Can we not do this here?" June picked up her purse. "Where's my coat?" Claire went to the foyer without being asked. That frightened Evan more than anything I had said. He turned to June and dropped the defensive edge from his voice. "Mom, come on. You know I appreciate you." June looked at the counters. The ham rested under foil. The green beans were trimmed, but not cooked. 2 pans of rolls waited on the stove. A bowl of softened butter sat beside rosemary I had driven 6 miles to buy. "I know you appreciate what I do," she said. "What does that mean?" She didn't answer. Kate came in from the living room, wine glass in hand. "What's happening?" "Mom and Dad are leaving," Evan said. Kate looked at me. "Why?" "Ask your brother." "Oh my God." Evan threw his hands out. "I made a joke, a bad joke. I'm sorry. There, can we move on?" June flinched at the speed of the apology. "I saw it." I don't think Evan did. Claire returned carrying our coats. She handed June hers first. "Please don't feel like you have to stay," she said. Evan stared at his wife. "That's helpful." "I'm not trying to be helpful to you right now." Kate put down her glass. "Okay, everybody needs to take a breath." "No," June said. It was not loud. Kate stopped anyway. June slid one arm into her coat, then the other. "I have been taking breaths all day." Kate's face changed. She glanced at the kitchen, maybe seeing it for the first time, instead of seeing food appear inside it. "I could help finish," she offered. Evan looked at the stove. "Nobody has to finish anything. Mom can just tell us what needs to be done." I laughed once. I couldn't help it. He heard himself then. His mouth tightened. "Fine," he said. "Go. If that's what you want, go. But don't pretend you're not blowing up Christmas because of one sentence." I buttoned my coat. We're not blowing up Christmas. The ham isn't even sliced. The ham is cooked. I checked. That is not the point. No, I said, it really isn't. June touched my sleeve. Not to stop me this time. To get me moving. We walked through the living room with a dozen adults pretending they had suddenly become fascinated by the tree. Someone near the fireplace wished us a Merry Christmas in a voice usually reserved for hospital corridors. I opened the front door. Cold air pushed into the house. June stepped onto the porch. Behind me, Evan said, "Dad." I turned. For 1 second he looked 8 years old, though he was 39 and had gray starting at his temples. It was the unguarded look he used to get after breaking something he hadn't expected to break. Then he saw people watching and the look disappeared. "What am I supposed to tell everybody?" he asked. I looked at my son, at the beautiful house, at his glass still in his hand. Tell them the help left. June was already halfway to the car. I caught up with her at the passenger door. She let me open it, but did not look at me as she got in. I shut her door gently, then stood in the driveway for a few seconds longer than necessary. Through the front windows, people began moving again. Inside the car, June kept both hands in her lap. I started the engine. The dashboard announced that it was 31 degrees and that my phone was trying to connect to Christmas music. I turned off the radio. As we backed out, the front door opened. Claire came onto the porch without a coat. She lifted one hand. June saw her. She did not wave back. We reached the end of the street before either of us spoke. "I shouldn't have said that last thing," I said. "No, I was angry. I know. It was a good line." June turned her head toward the window. For a moment I thought I had made it worse. Then I saw her mouth move. "Don't make me laugh," she said. I kept my eyes on the road. Wouldn't dream of it. 3 blocks later, she began to cry. June did not cry delicately. Her face reddened, her breath caught hard, and she pressed the heels of both hands against her eyes as if furious with them for leaking. I pulled into the parking lot of a closed bank and put the car in park. She shook her head. Don't what? Look at me like that. I'm looking at my wife." "Exactly." I waited. She found a tissue in her purse, discovered it had a peppermint stuck to it, and started laughing through the tears. "This is humiliating." "The peppermint?" "All of it." I reached for her hand. She let me take it but did not squeeze back. "He said it so easily," she said. "I know. He didn't even have to think." "I know." And everybody understood what he meant. I wanted to tell her they had all been embarrassed for Evan, not for her. I wanted to say Diane's mistake had been innocent. Claire had defended her. Kate had offered to help. I had a whole toolbox of reasonable explanations ready to open. June knew me too well. "Don't tidy it up," she said. I closed the toolbox. All right. We sat in the empty lot while traffic moved along the road beyond us. Families in clean cars carried wrapped gifts and slow cookers toward houses where the day had not yet gone wrong. My phone rang through the speakers. Evan Hale appeared across the dashboard. June looked at it. "Don't answer." I declined the call. It rang again before I had put the phone down, then a third time. "He probably needs to know what temperature for the rolls," June said. I couldn't tell whether she was joking. The phone stopped. A message appeared. "Please call me. The gravy is separating, and Kate says the beans aren't done." June stared at the screen. I turned the phone face down in the console. She looked at me. "You could tell him to add warm broth. No, if he adds cold, it'll get worse. I hope it forms a solid object. Martin, I'm not helping him with the gravy." Her phone began ringing inside her purse. She didn't reach for it. That was new. We drove home by a longer route because neither of us wanted to pass the grocery store or the church with its parking lot full. The light was already thinning when I pulled into our driveway. It made the house look empty before we entered it. Inside, everything was exactly as we had left it. 2 coffee cups in the sink, the foil box open on the counter, a stray pecan beside the cutting board. The refrigerator held mustard, half a carton of eggs, 3 bottles of beer, and none of the food June had spent 2 days making. "What do you want to eat?" I asked. "I'm not hungry." "You haven't eaten since breakfast." I had part of a roll. You tested a roll. It was a large test. I took out the eggs. June removed her coat but left the sweater on. She sat at the kitchen table while I made omelets that became scrambled eggs when I tried to fold them. "You put too much in them," she said. "They have ambition. They have mushrooms in places mushrooms shouldn't be." I divided the eggs between 2 plates and burned 4 pieces of toast before producing 2 acceptable ones. June ate because I put the plate in front of her, not because she wanted it. Halfway through, her phone buzzed again. Kate had sent a message. "I'm sorry this happened. Evan is upset too. Maybe tomorrow we can all talk when everyone is calmer." June read it twice. "Evan is upset too," she said. "He may have lost control of the gravy." She didn't smile. A second message arrived, this one from Claire. "I am so sorry. I should have stopped everything sooner." June turned the phone over. "Are you going to answer? Not tonight. Good." She looked at me sharply. "Why is that good? Because you don't have to take care of how they feel about hurting you." The sentence sounded better before it reached the air. June set down her fork. "You think that's what I do? I think you're kind." "That isn't what you said." I sat back. She waited. I could have stepped away from it. I had 41 years of experience finding the sentence that lowered the temperature in a room. People called me patient. What they often meant was that I knew how to end a difficult conversation before anyone said something that could not be politely forgotten. "You take care of people," I said. June looked toward the dark window over the sink. "So do you. Not like you." "No. You thank me for it." There was no anger in her voice now. That made it land harder. "What does that mean?" She picked up a crumb of toast and pressed it beneath her fingertip. "When Evan called about the ham, what did you say?" "I don't remember." "You said, 'Your mother would love to.'" I remembered. "You did want to make it." "Yes. And when he added the rolls, I wanted to make those too. Then I'm missing something, I know." She pushed her plate away and stood. For a second, I thought she was going to leave the room. Instead, she carried both plates to the sink. I followed her. "June." She turned on the faucet. "You're doing dishes," I said. "There are dishes. That isn't an answer." She shut off the water. The house was quiet enough that I could hear the heating system ticking in the walls. "You make it sound beautiful," she said. "The way I do everything. You tell people I'm the heart of the family. You tell me nobody makes a holiday like I do. And every time they ask for something, you look at me like, 'You already know, I'll say yes.' I thought you liked being the person they could count on." "I do." Her answer came fast enough to surprise both of us. June gripped the edge of the sink. "I do like it," she said again. "That's what makes this so ugly." I waited. She stared down at the 2 plates. "I don't know if our children know what to do with me when I'm not doing something for them." I leaned against the counter beside her. "They know what to do with you." June gave me a tired look. "What?" "They call you. When they need something, Kate calls to talk. Kate calls to talk about Kate. That's what talking to Kate is. I meant it as a joke." June almost smiled, but the expression disappeared before it settled. "She asks how I am," she said. "Then I say I'm fine, and we move on to whatever she called about." "Why do you say you're fine?" "Because usually I am." "And when you're not?" She looked down at the sink. "Usually there's something to do." I reached for the dish towel. She handed me a plate, and we washed the 2 dishes together. It was absurdly formal, like we were closing a restaurant after a terrible shift. "I'm sorry," I said. "For what?" "For today. You didn't call me the help." "No. I watched you be it until he did." June's hand stopped beneath the water. I hadn't planned the sentence. If I had, I would have softened it, and then it would have been useless. She rinsed the second plate and set it in the rack. "You carried things," she said. "I carried exactly what you asked me to carry. You went to the store. I complained the whole way. That doesn't mean you didn't go. I'm not looking for an acquittal." She dried her hands, then folded the towel into a square too neat for the moment. "You're not on trial. Maybe I should be." "No." She placed the towel on the counter. "That would still make this about you." I nodded. "There are times in a marriage when the smartest thing a man can say is nothing. The difficulty is that nothing feels a lot like losing." June checked her phone. There were 7 missed calls from Evan, 2 from Kate, and 1 from a number neither of us recognized. Messages stacked beneath them. "Call me when you can." "Mom, I'm sorry. Dinner is a mess." "Dad, answer your phone. Can you at least tell Kate where the extra sauce is?" That last one made June laugh. "What extra sauce?" I asked. "There isn't any." "Then why would Kate think there is?" "Because there's always extra sauce." She set the phone down. I pictured our daughter opening cabinets in Evan's kitchen, convinced June had hidden a finished solution somewhere. It was such a perfect image of the family that I nearly laughed too. "What happened to dinner?" I asked. June shrugged. "They're adults. They ate." "Do you think the ham survived?" "The ham didn't do anything wrong." My phone buzzed with a picture from Kate. The ham sat in the center of Evan's expensive table, sliced in slabs thick enough to roof a shed. The green beans looked gray. A dinner roll had collapsed beneath somebody's thumb. At the bottom of the image, Kate had typed, "Happy now?" I stared at it. June held out her hand. "What?" "Nothing useful. Martin." I gave her the phone. She looked at the picture for a long moment. Then she enlarged it, studying the food despite herself. "They overcooked the beans," she said. I believe that may have been done in anger. She read Kate's message, her face closed. "Don't answer," I said. "I wasn't going to. You have the look." "What look?" "The one where you're writing 6 drafts in your head." June handed back the phone. "What would you say?" "I'd say yes. You would not." I might add a question mark. "Happy now?" "Exactly. Keep it conversational." She walked out of the kitchen. I deleted the response I had already started typing. We went to bed early, though neither of us slept. June lay facing away from me. At 11:17, her phone lit up on the nightstand. At 11:42, mine did. Sometime after midnight, I heard her breathing change and thought she had fallen asleep. Then she said, "Did I embarrass him?" I stared at the ceiling. He embarrassed himself. "That isn't what I asked." "No." You hesitated. I was deciding whether to lie. She rolled over. The dark softened her face, but not her voice. Everyone was watching us walk out. Everyone had also watched you carry trash past a room full of people while Evan held a drink. I didn't care about that. I did. I know. What does that mean? You care when it becomes obvious. I turned toward her. She wasn't accusing me. She was examining something. "You've never minded me doing things," she said. "You mind people being disrespectful about it." "Shouldn't I?" "Yes. But one of those things makes you look like a good husband. The other one would require you to notice before somebody says something ugly." I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to list grocery trips and tables cleared and all the mornings I had made coffee before she woke. Marriage keeps receipts even when decent people pretend it doesn't. Instead, I said, "That's fair." June frowned. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Agree so calmly that I have nowhere to go. I thought you wanted me to agree. I want you to understand. I'm trying." She lay back and pulled the blanket to her chin. After a minute, I said, "I liked how our family worked. So did I. That doesn't mean it was fair to you." "No." "Can we stop agreeing now?" She let out a small breath that might have been a laugh. The room went quiet again. I reached across the bed and put my hand over hers. This time, she squeezed back. When I woke, June's side of the bed was empty. The house smelled like coffee. She sat at the kitchen table in her robe, reading messages on her phone. A legal pad lay in front of her with a column of names down the left side. "What's that?" I asked. "Coffee's in the pot." I asked what that was. "I heard you." I poured a cup and sat across from her. The names included Evan, Kate, Claire, Patrice, my brother Ed, and several friends. Beside each name, June had written short notes. Birthday dinners, airport, doctor appointments, thank you cards. "Christmas? Are these things you do for people?" I asked. "Some." I pointed to Ed's name. "You remind my brother to send me a birthday card?" "He remembers the date. He forgets to buy the card." "Then how does it arrive in his handwriting?" "I mail him one with a stamped envelope." I sat back. June sipped her coffee. "That's deranged," I said. "I know." "Does Ed know it's deranged?" "Ed thinks he has a system." I read further. She made Kate's dental appointments because Kate hated calling during office hours. She sent flowers from Evan and Claire on Patrice's birthday because Evan had once asked her to and never told her to stop. She kept track of Claire's father's dietary restrictions. She had written my cousin's new address in 3 separate address books, none of which belonged to her. "You do all this?" "Not every day. That isn't reassuring. It didn't feel like much when it happened one thing at a time." I looked toward the refrigerator. Our Christmas cards were held there by a magnet shaped like a lobster. June had addressed all of them. I had signed my name. How much of this did I know about? All of it, probably. Just not at once. Her phone rang. Kate. June watched it vibrate. "Are you going to answer?" I asked. "I don't know." The call stopped. A message followed immediately. Can I come over? June rubbed her thumb along the edge of the legal pad. Do you want her to? I asked. She's my daughter. That wasn't the question. She looked at me, irritated. I don't know, Martin. Then tell her that. You can't tell someone you don't know if you want to see them. I believe those are all words she recognizes. June gave me the same look she had given the Christmas towel. I waited. She typed, not this morning. I'll call later. The reply came fast. Seriously? June placed the phone face down. You know what she wants, she said. To talk. To explain Evan to me. To explain me to me. To get everybody back in the same room before New Year's Eve because she hates unfinished conflict. She gets that from me. Yes. I put my coffee down. I don't hate unfinished conflict. You alphabetized the garage during our argument about moving. That was unrelated. You labeled extension cords. They were different lengths. She looked at me until I smiled. Then her phone rang again. Evan. June answered this time. Hello? I could hear his voice, though not the words. It was sharp and fast. June listened. No, I'm not sick. Another burst from Evan. I didn't say you thought I was sick. I said I'm not. She looked at the wall across from her. No, I'm not trying to punish you. His voice rose enough that I heard the shape of my own name. June's eyes moved to me. Your father did not make me leave. I held out my hand for the phone. She shook her head. I don't care what he said in the driveway. Another pause. Because this is between you and me. Evan spoke for nearly a minute. June listened without interrupting. Her face shifted once, a flash of pain followed by something firmer. No, she said. That's not an apology. Silence. Because you're still explaining why I shouldn't be hurt. His voice came again, lower now. June closed her eyes. I understand that you were stressed. I understand Diane made a mistake. I understand everyone heard Dad's last comment. I understand the food wasn't ready. None of that tells me why you looked at me and saw the easiest person in the room to make small. Evan stopped talking. June's fingers pressed into the tabletop. When he finally answered, I couldn't hear him. She said, I love you too. Then her shoulders dropped, as if the words had taken something out of her. No, I'm not coming over today. She ended the call and kept holding the phone to her ear. I reached across the table and lowered her hand. What did he say? That I've always done too much, that everybody knows it, that the joke was really about how useless the rest of them are without me. That's creative. He said, I like being needed. I glanced at the legal pad. Do you? June looked down at the names. Yes. I waited for more. She picked up the pen. That doesn't mean they get to use it against me. She drew a line beneath the final name. What are you doing? For the next 6 months, I'm not organizing a family dinner. I'm not cooking for one unless I decide I want to, and nobody gets to ask me through you. 6 months. I picked a number. What about birthdays? They'll continue to occur. What about Easter? I believe the resurrection has survived worse. I tried not to smile. June saw it anyway. You think I won't last? I think Kate will be here by lunch with a peace offering and an emergency. She can bring both. And Evan? Her pen hovered above the paper. I don't know. She capped it. I need to find out whether my son misses me or just the things that happen when I walk into a room. The doorbell rang at 11:47. June looked at the clock above the stove. She made it technically not morning, I said. She gets that from you too. I respect precision. The bell rang again, followed by 3 short knocks. Kate had knocked that way since she moved into her first apartment. It meant she was either excited, carrying too much, or determined to enter before anybody gathered the strength to refuse her. June stayed seated. Do you want me to get it? No. Do you want me not to get it? I want her to have listened. The bell rang a 3rd time. I stood. Apparently that wasn't one of the available choices. Kate waited on the porch with a cardboard tray of coffees, a white bakery box, and an arrangement of red flowers wrapped in crackling plastic. She wore the same cream coat from the day before, but her hair was pulled into a crooked knot, and there was no makeup around her tired eyes. I know Mom said not this morning, she said. It's almost noon. I mentioned that. Can I come in? Your mother doesn't want company. I'm not company. That may be part of the problem. Her face tightened. Dad, please. June appeared behind me. Kate lifted the flowers slightly. Peace offering. They're beautiful, June said. Can I come in? June hesitated, then stepped aside. Kate kissed her cheek. June accepted the kiss, but did not take the flowers. I did, along with the coffee tray, because nobody else seemed willing to negotiate with it. "What's in the box?" I asked. "Cinnamon rolls." June looked at her. "I bought them," Kate said quickly. "I wasn't accusing you. I just wanted you to know." Kate took off her coat and draped it over a chair. She had always entered our house as if it were an extension of her own body. Shoes off by the mat, purse on the third stair, refrigerator door open before she said hello. This time, she stood in the kitchen with her hands clasped. I found a vase for the flowers. The arrangement was 3 sizes too large for our table and shed red glitter onto the counter. "Those aren't flowers," I said. "That's a parade float. The woman said they were festive." The woman was clearing inventory. "Dad." June sat down. "Why are you here, Kate?" Our daughter took the chair across from her. "I wanted to see if you were okay." "I'm upset." "I know." "Then you have your answer." Kate glanced at me. I busied myself cutting bakery twine from the box. "I also wanted to explain what happened after you left." "No," June said. Kate blinked. "No, I was there for the part that matters. But you don't know how bad Evan feels." June's expression barely changed. "Do you?" "I was with him until midnight." "That's not what I asked." Kate exhaled and leaned back. "He feels terrible." "About what?" "About everything." Everything is a useful word when you don't want to name one thing. "Mom, he knows the joke was wrong." "Does he?" "He called you. He called to explain it, because Dad's comment made it sound like he treats you as some kind of servant." I set the knife down harder than necessary. Kate heard it. "I'm not saying he was right." "Then what are you saying?" I asked. "I'm saying you didn't have to humiliate him in front of everybody." June looked at the flowers. A small patch of glitter had transferred to the sleeve of her robe. "Who humiliated me?" she asked. Kate opened her mouth. Nothing came out. June waited. "That was different," Kate said finally. "How?" "Because he wasn't trying to." "Did your father try?" "No, but he knew what he was saying. So did Evan." Kate rubbed both hands over her face. "This is exactly why I wanted us to sit down calmly." "We are sitting down," June said. "I'm calm." "I don't mean—" Kate stopped herself. "You're making this impossible." June looked almost curious. "What am I making impossible?" "Fixing it. You arrived with coffee and a pastry. What part were you planning to fix?" Kate pushed her chair back an inch. "I'm trying to keep this family from splitting apart over a bad joke. The family is not splitting apart. Evan thinks you're cutting him off. I spoke to him this morning. He says you won't come over. Yesterday I spent 8 hours at his house. That isn't fair." "No," June said. "It wasn't." Kate looked at me again, and I recognized the request in her face. "Do something. Translate Mom. Lower the temperature. Hand everyone a version of the conversation they could live with." I had played that role so long, I could feel the words arranging themselves. June's tired. Evan's embarrassed. You both love each other. Give it a few days. All true, all useless. "Don't look at me," I said. Kate's eyebrows rose. "You're in the room. You're asking me to make your mother easier. I am not. You've been doing it since you walked in? That's ridiculous." June touched the lid of her coffee, but did not open it. Kate turned back to her. "I came because I love you. I know you do. And because I don't want you sitting here thinking nobody appreciates you. I don't think that. Then what do you think?" June glanced toward the legal pad on the far end of the table. I had expected her to mention it, to list the dinners and reminders and cards. She didn't. "What did you call me about last Tuesday?" she asked. Kate frowned. "Last Tuesday?" "Yes. I don't know. Work, probably. You needed the name of the plumber we used." "Okay." "The Friday before that?" "Mom, I don't keep a log. You wanted me to help you write a note to your neighbor because his music was too loud." "That was funny. It was funny." Kate folded her arms. "The Sunday before that," June continued, "you asked me whether a sweater could go in the dryer. The time before that, you needed me to remember which restaurant your father liked near the hospital. Before that, you wanted my pie crust recipe. I call you all the time. You do. Then I don't understand. When was the last time you called because you wanted to know something about me?" Kate stared at her. June did not press. I watched my daughter search her memory. Her face moved through irritation, concentration, and then hurt. You never tell me anything's wrong. I'm not asking about something being wrong. Then what am I supposed to ask? What I'm reading? Where I went? Whether I laughed at anything today? That sounds like a test. It shouldn't. Kate stood and walked to the counter. She opened the bakery box, then closed it without taking anything. You always said you loved helping us, she said. I do. Then how were we supposed to know you were keeping score? June flinched. I saw Kate regret it, but pride got there first. She wasn't keeping score, I said. There's a list on the table. The list came after your brother called her the help. Kate turned toward me. You're enjoying this. For a second, I couldn't speak. What? You finally get to be the hero. Mom does everything for years. Evan says one awful thing, and suddenly you're the man who defended her. The words hit cleanly because some part of them was true. June stood. That's enough. Kate's eyes filled. I'm sorry. To whom? Both of you? You don't have to pick a villain so you can leave feeling better. I didn't. You just moved it from Evan to your father. Kate looked down. June crossed the kitchen and touched her arm. Kate stiffened at first, then leaned toward her in the old, reflexive way she always had. June did not hug her. I love you, she said. I'm not cutting you off. I'm not asking you to suffer. I'm asking you to let me be upset without making it my job to comfort everyone who caused it. Kate wiped beneath one eye. How long? How long what? How long are you going to be like this? June dropped her hand. Kate's face collapsed. That came out wrong. Yes, June said. It did. She left her standing in the kitchen and went upstairs. Kate stared after her. Do I go? She asked me. I think so. I brought her coffee. I'll put it in the refrigerator. She hates reheated coffee. I know. Kate put on her coat. At the front door, she turned back. Is she really okay? No. Is she going to be? I don't know. That's not helpful. Apparently, we're trying something new. Kate left without slamming the door. Somehow, that was worse. I found June in our bedroom changing out of her robe. The red sweater lay across the foot of the bed. She had worn it home from Evans, slept beside it, and put it on again that morning. Now she folded it and placed it in the hamper as carefully as she had folded Claire's apron. Kate's gone, I said. June pulled on a blue sweatshirt. She didn't mean that last part. I know. She didn't mean most of it. I know that too. I sat on the edge of the bed. She wasn't wrong about me. June looked at me through the mirror. Which part? The hero part. You did defend me. I waited until there was an audience. That isn't why. No, but it helped. She turned. I rubbed my palms against my knees. If he'd made that joke when we were alone, I would have told him it wasn't funny. But I don't know if I would have taken you home. Neither do I. That bothers me. It should. I nodded. June sat beside me. Our shoulders touched. Kate knew exactly where to put the knife, I said. She gets that from you. I thought she got everything bad from me. Not everything. Name one. She cannot load a dishwasher. That's clearly your side. June rested her head against my shoulder. We sat there until the doorbell rang again. I looked toward the hallway. If that's Kate, I'm turning off the bell. It wasn't Kate. A delivery driver stood on the porch holding a large insulated bag. Evan Hale? He asked. Wrong address. He checked his phone. Martin Hale? From the kitchen, June said. What is it? The driver read the order. Holiday dinner for 2. Turkey, stuffing, green beans, mashed potatoes, pie. I looked at the receipt stapled to the bag. A message had been typed at the bottom. Since you missed dinner, no apology, no love, Evan. Just a replacement meal, delivered while the refrigerator at his house still held food June had cooked. Do you want it? I asked her. June stared at the bag. No. I tipped the driver, told him to keep it, and closed the door. My phone rang before I made it back to the kitchen. Evan didn't say hello. Did the food get there? It did. Good. I didn't want Mom cooking today. She isn't. A pause. What does that mean? It means I sent it back. You what? You sent your mother dinner like you were compensating an employee for a missed break. That's not what I was doing. I looked at June. She was wiping red glitter from the kitchen table, one careful fleck at a time. No, I said. I don't think you know what you're doing at all. Evan went quiet. Then he said, Put Mom on. She can hear you. I asked to talk to her. You called my phone, because she won't answer hers. June brushed the last glittering speck into her palm and carried it to the trash. She held out her hand for my phone. I gave it to her. Hi, she said. Evan's voice changed immediately. He became softer, careful, almost formal. Mom, I was trying to do something nice. I know. I figured you didn't have food because everything was here. We had eggs. For Christmas dinner? For dinner on Christmas. That's depressing. June leaned against the counter. It was peaceful. He missed the point, or chose to. I ordered from that hotel you like. I've never been to that hotel. You said the restaurant was good. I said Patrice liked it. Well, it's supposed to be good. I'm sure it is. The careful tone began to crack. Then why send it back? Because I didn't want it. You could have put it in the refrigerator. Yes. You didn't have to make a statement. June closed her eyes. Evan, I didn't ask you to send dinner. I was trying to apologize. You could have apologized. I already did. No. You said you were sorry the joke hurt me. Then you spent 10 minutes explaining why it shouldn't have. That isn't fair. You keep saying that because you keep turning everything I do into proof that I'm a terrible son. June opened her eyes. I have not called you a terrible son. You haven't had to. Then stop arguing with things I didn't say. I moved toward the coffee pot, though there was no coffee left. Listening felt intrusive. Leaving felt worse. Evan took a breath loud enough for both of us to hear. Can we just start over? What does that mean? It means you come by, we have a normal conversation, and everybody stops acting like Christmas was some kind of family tragedy. Who is everybody? Dad, Kate. Claire won't even talk to me without bringing it up. That sounds like 3 different conversations you need to have. Mom, please. June's fingers tightened around the phone. Not today, she said. When? I don't know. How long are you going to punish me? I'm going to hang up now. See, this is what Dad does. He decides he's right and then shuts down the conversation. June looked at me. Your father isn't the one hanging up. She ended the call and placed my phone on the counter. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, You shouldn't have sent the food back. I asked you. You asked while the driver was standing there. You said you didn't want it. I didn't. Then what was I supposed to do? Put it in the refrigerator. I stared at her. That's exactly what Evan said. I'm aware. You wanted me to keep it? I wanted not to be forced into a decision about a bag of turkey that had somehow become a symbol of my dignity. That seems hard on the turkey. Martin. I thought sending it back was supporting you. You thought it was a good line with props. That shut me up. June crossed her arms. You don't get to turn every stupid thing he does into a showdown. He insulted you. Yes, he still doesn't understand. No, he doesn't. And now he sends a meal instead of apologizing. He was trying. Badly. People usually do it first. I studied her face. Are you defending him? I'm asking you to stop competing with him over who understands me better. I felt that one settle. That's not what I'm doing. It is a little. I'm your husband, and he's my son. Neither of you owns the correct interpretation of me. I picked up my phone. I didn't say I did. You answered for me at the door. You answered for me on the phone. You sent back the dinner. You said you didn't want it. I know what I said. Then I don't understand what we're arguing about. June pressed her lips together. I knew that expression. She was choosing between explaining herself and deciding I was temporarily too stupid to help. I want you beside me, she said, not in front of me. The anger went out of me. All right. And don't say that just to end the conversation. I'm going to need you to publish a list of forbidden responses. Number 1 would be jokes. That seems unconstitutional. She looked away, but I caught the small movement at the corner of her mouth. I stepped closer. I'm sorry. For which part? The driver. The phone. The good line with props. It was a little theatrical. I'd like the record to show he handed me an insulated bag. The record will reflect that. I touched her arm. Beside you. She nodded. The telephone stayed quiet for the rest of the afternoon. At 4, June opened the refrigerator and stared at its bare shelves. I could have used the pie, she said. I put on my coat and bought one from the grocery store. The only flavor left was lemon meringue, which neither of us liked enough to choose, but both of us liked enough to eat. For 3 days, our children communicated through increasingly cautious messages. Kate sent a photograph of the red flowers on our table from the angle that made them look less enormous. Then she realized the photograph had been taken in our kitchen and wrote, Sorry, obviously you know what they look like. Evan sent nothing. Claire texted June once. I'm giving him space to think. I hope that is not making you feel abandoned by me. June read it aloud. What are you going to say? I asked. The truth. She typed, thank you for checking. I need some space too, but I don't blame you alone. Claire replied with a heart. June frowned at it. What? I asked. I never know what color heart to send. That one's red. I can see that. Then we've narrowed it down. Does red mean romance? Not when it comes from your daughter-in-law. You're very confident. I've done extensive research. You use the thumbs up for everything. It covers a wide emotional range. She sent a blue heart and immediately regretted it. On the morning before New Year's Eve, Patrice called while we were putting away the Christmas decorations. June's older sister had never accepted that holidays needed to linger. She took her tree down on December 26th and claimed she could hear it judging her if she waited longer. We usually kept ours until the first weekend in January, but the ornaments felt accusatory that year. I was wrapping a glass angel in tissue paper when June put Patrice on speaker. How was Christmas? Patrice asked. June looked at me. Complicated. That means bad. If it were good, you'd say good. It wasn't all bad. Then you'd say mostly good. I heard a cabinet close on Patrice's end. What happened? June told her. Not every detail. She left out the legal pad and Kate's visit. She made my departure sound calmer than it had been, and Evan's joke sound almost accidental. Patrice listened without interrupting, which was unusual enough to make me stop wrapping the angel. When June finished, Patrice said, I'm going to ask one question, and you're going to hate it. I already hate the introduction. Why were you taking out the trash? June glanced at me. The can was full. I understand the mechanics. I was standing there. Were there no other people with arms? Patrice, I'm not blaming you. I'm asking why you saw a full trash can in somebody else's house and thought it belonged to you. June took the glass angel from my hands and began rewrapping it. I don't know. Yes, you do. I was helping. You're always helping. Martin already covered this. Then for once, Martin is right. I leaned toward the phone. I'd like that repeated more slowly. Don't get comfortable. June placed the angel in the storage box. Patrice's voice softened. Are you okay? No. Good. Excuse me? If you said yes, I was driving down there. You hate driving after dark. I'd arrive before dark. It's 10 in the morning. Exactly. June sat on the floor beside the ornament box. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. You're not supposed to do anything. That sounds suspicious. I'm going to the lake in 3 weeks. Come with me. Patrice rented the same small lakeside cottage every winter with 2 friends from her old accounting office. They played cards, walked if the weather allowed, and complained about restaurants with inadequate lighting. June had been invited 4 years in a row. She had declined 4 years in a row. I can't, she said automatically. Patrice laughed. There she is. What? Who needs you that weekend? No one. Then why can't you come? June folded another square of tissue paper that contained nothing. I don't want to intrude on your trip. You've met Alice and Marjorie. That doesn't mean they want me there. They asked me to ask you. Why? Because they like you. This is a foreign concept, but stay with me. I sat across from June on the floor. You should go, I said. She looked at me. What about you? What about me? You'd be here alone. I was alone before I met you. That was 43 years ago. I've learned things since then. Name one. I can order food without insulting anyone. Patrice laughed through the speaker. June looked at the half-empty ornament box. I'll think about it. No, Patrice said. You'll make a list of reasons not to go, and every reason will have somebody else's name in it. That's not fair. Probably not. June rubbed her thumb along the edge of the tissue paper. Do I have to play cards? You have to hold cards. What you do with them is between you and God, June breathed in. All right, what? I'll go. Patrice shouted so loudly the phone speaker crackled. June laughed, then covered her mouth as if she had done it without permission. After they hung up, she picked up another ornament. You're sure? She asked me. It's 3 nights? 4. I'll be dead by the 2nd. I'm serious. So am I. Think what you'll save on groceries. She set the ornament down. I haven't gone anywhere without you except to see family in years. I know. What are you going to do? Whatever I want. Which is, I have 3 weeks to find out. She studied me, and I realized she wasn't only worried about leaving me alone. She was waiting to see if I would make her responsible for my loneliness. I reached for the tissue paper. Go to the lake, I said. Be bad at cards. Let somebody else notice when the trash is full. June handed me the glass angel again. You wrapped this wrong? Take the trip before I change my mind. She laughed, but her eyes filled. This time, I didn't try to fix it. I sat on the floor beside her, badly wrapping ornaments, while she let herself want to go. The tree came down that afternoon. I carried the storage boxes to the garage while June vacuumed needles from the rug. Normally, she would have followed me to make sure the ornaments went on the right shelf. This time, she stood at the door and called, "Not under the paint." I know, and not beside the fertilizer. I know, and the angel box stays on top. I set the angel box directly beneath the paint. Then I moved it before she could come look. New Year's Eve passed without a family gathering. Kate sent us an invitation to meet her at a restaurant, followed 20 minutes later by a second message saying there was no pressure. June declined and spent the evening on our sofa in socks, watching a movie neither of us understood. At midnight, neighborhood fireworks flashed blue against the windows. June lifted her glass. To a less interesting year. I'll drink to dull. We kissed, and for a few seconds we were simply a married couple in a quiet house, not the parents of two adults waiting for us to restore the old arrangement. At 12:04, Kate texted Happy New Year. At 12:06, Claire did too. Evan did not. His silence followed us through the first week of January. June never mentioned it, which meant she noticed every hour of it. Her phone stayed near her at breakfast. When it buzzed, she checked too quickly and then pretended she had only been looking at the time. I could have called him. More than once I took my phone into the garage and stood beside the badly stacked Christmas boxes with his name open on the screen. Each time I remembered June telling him the conflict was between the two of them. Each time I put the phone back in my pocket. I had never realized restraint could feel so much like cowardice. The serving dishes returned on a wet Saturday morning. Evan stood on our porch holding June's roasting pan against his chest. A plastic tub sat by his feet, filled with casserole dishes, cake plates, utensils, and the blue-taped relish container. "Morning," he said. "Morning." Rain darkened his shoulders. He wore an old college sweatshirt and looked as if he had not slept well. "Can I come in? Is this a surprise or an ambush? Can't it just be me returning dishes? You have never returned a dish in under 2 months. Maybe I'm growing. That would be seasonal." He looked past me into the house. "Is Mom here?" June called from the kitchen. "Let him in, Martin." I stepped aside. Evan carried the roasting pan down the hall. I followed with the tub. Everything inside it had been washed. Not wiped and stacked while damp either. Washed, dried, and nested with paper towels between the glass pieces the way June did. She saw that too. "You cleaned all of these," she said. "Claire and I did. All of them. Eventually." He set the roasting pan on the table. "The glaze has structural properties." June ran her thumb along the clean rim. "Thank you." Evan shrugged, but the gratitude landed. "There's a spoon missing, the wooden one with the dark handle. It's not mine." "It's not? I used Claire's." "Oh." He had spent some time looking for it. I could tell from the way he stared at the tub. June pointed toward the coffee pot. "Do you want coffee?" "Yes." The answer came so quickly that all three of us heard his relief. She took down a mug, then stopped. "You know where they are." Evan glanced at the cabinet. "I do." He got his own mug. That tiny act should not have mattered. It did. We sat at the kitchen table. Evan wrapped both hands around his coffee without drinking. June waited. I had already made the mistake of answering for her once, so I concentrated on the rain moving down the window. Evan looked at me. "Can I talk to Mom alone? You can ask her." His jaw tightened. June said, "Your father can stay." "That's not what I asked. I know." He leaned back. "Fine." Another minute passed. June did not rescue him. "I'm sorry," he said at last. She nodded once. "I shouldn't have said what I said." "No, it was disrespectful." "Yes, I was stressed, and Diane caught me off guard. But that isn't an excuse." "No." He looked at me again. "Can you not sit there grading this? I'm looking out the window. You're doing it aggressively." "Martin," June said. I kept looking at the window. Evan pressed his fingertips against the mug. "I've been trying to figure out why you got so upset." June's face changed slightly. He saw it. "No, wait. I know why it was upsetting. I mean, why it became this big, why you left, why you won't see us. I'm seeing you now. You know what I mean? I do. I want you to say it." He looked at the rain. "You're making everything literal. It saves time." Evan rubbed his forehead. I didn't think of you as the help. You thought other people would understand the comparison. It was a joke about how much you do. Then why wasn't I laughing? Because it was a bad joke. Why did you make it? He sighed. I don't know. June waited. You do everything, he said. You always have. Everybody knows that. It wasn't like I invented something cruel out of nowhere. No, you didn't. I turned from the window. June's gaze warned me back. Evan continued. You got there early. You took over the kitchen. You wouldn't let Claire do anything. I wouldn't let Claire do anything. She said you kept telling her to go get dressed or be with her family. She was hosting. So were you. No, June said. Apparently I was staffing. He flinched. That's not fair. You told a room full of people what my role was. I made one stupid comment after you'd spent all day acting like everything was your responsibility. The room went quiet. Evan looked down at his coffee. June's voice softened. There it is. What? The part of your apology you were trying not to say. I'm not blaming you. You are a little. He opened his mouth, then closed it. June folded her hands on the table. You're right about something. That surprised him. It surprised me, too. I did take over, she said. I saw groceries on the island, and I started sorting them. I saw a pan in the sink, and I washed it. I saw the trash, and I carried it out. Nobody put a hand on my back and forced me. Exactly. Don't look so relieved. I'm not finished. His face settled. I do too much, June said. Sometimes before anyone asks. Sometimes because I'm afraid if I sit down, I won't know where I belong. Sometimes because being useful is easier than being interesting. That isn't true. You haven't asked whether it's true. I know you. She tilted her head. What book am I reading? Evan frowned. What? You said you know me? What book am I reading? I don't know. What did I do the week before Christmas besides cook? You went shopping. I didn't. He looked at me, then caught himself. June's fingers moved against each other. When did you last call me without needing information, food, a favor, or help with another person? I call you all the time. When? I called after Thanksgiving. You wanted Patrice's address. That still counts as calling. Then answer the question. Evan stared into his mug. I could see him searching, the same way Kate had searched at this table. What hurt was that he seemed honestly surprised not to find anything. I don't remember, he said. June nodded. That doesn't mean it never happened. No. I'm busy, Mom. I know. You could call me too. I do. Not just to check whether I need something. June went still. Evan saw it and sat forward. That came out wrong? No, she said. I think that came out exactly right. He rubbed both hands over his face. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. I came here to apologize. And you did, but it's not enough. Not yet. What else do you want me to say? I don't want you to say anything you don't understand. Then help me understand. The request hung between them. June looked at the clean roasting pan, the tub of dishes, the son who had brought them back in the rain, and still wanted her to perform the repair. I have been helping you understand other people your whole life, she said. Your father, your sister, Claire, every boss you thought disliked you, every friend who disappointed you. I translated them until you never had to sit alone with the possibility that you had hurt someone. That's what mothers do. Her eyes filled, but her voice did not change. Maybe that's what I did. It isn't what I'm going to do now. Evan leaned back. So, you're cutting me off? No. You said 6 months. June glanced at me. I hadn't realized he knew about that. Kate told you, she said. She said you're refusing to do anything for the family for 6 months. I said I won't organize family dinners. I won't automatically cook for them. And nobody asked me for favors through your father. That sounds like punishment. It's practice. For what? Saying no before I become angry at people for accepting my yes. Evan looked toward the counter. The legal pad was gone, put away after Christmas, but I could almost see him imagining the list. What about your birthday, he asked. My birthday will happen. And Kate's? Also likely, you always do dinner for Kate. This year, Kate can decide what she wants to do. She'll expect us to plan something. Then you and Kate can discuss it. He gave a short, humorless laugh. You really mean this? Yes. He looked at me. And you're okay with it? June stiffened. I heard the trap this time. It isn't mine to approve, I said. Evan's mouth twisted. That sounds rehearsed. It cost me a hotel dinner. June almost smiled. Evan stood. He carried his mug to the sink, rinsed it, and put it in the dishwasher. He left the door hanging open, but I decided growth had limits. At the front hall, June helped him with neither his coat nor the tub. He put the empty tub under one arm. "I do miss you," he said. June's face softened. "Then miss me?" she answered. "Don't turn it into an errand." He looked wounded, but he nodded. After the door closed, June stood watching him walk through the rain. "He tried," she said. "He did. He also blamed me. A little. He brought back every dish, except Claire's spoon." June leaned her forehead against the glass. "I wanted to make it easy for him. I know. I could have explained everything in 5 minutes. I know." He looked miserable. I stood beside her, not in front. Outside, Evan placed the plastic tub in his back seat. Before getting into the car, he looked back at the house. June lifted her hand. He lifted his. Neither of them smiled, but for the first time since Christmas, neither of them asked the other to pretend. The clean roasting pan sat on our counter for 2 days because neither of us wanted to put it away. June passed it every time she crossed the kitchen. She would touch one handle, as if checking that it was still there, then continue with whatever she had been doing. On Monday morning, I finally carried it to the pantry. "You don't have to hide it," she said. "I'm putting it where it belongs. It goes on the lower shelf. I knew that. You're holding it at shoulder level. I moved it to the lower shelf." Her phone rang while I was pretending that had been my intention. Kate's name appeared. June watched it until the 4th ring, then answered. "Hi." I opened the refrigerator and stood there long enough to qualify as suspicious. Kate's voice came faintly through the phone. "No," June said. "Nothing's wrong." A pause. "Yes, I'm sure." Another pause. June looked at me. "I'm in the kitchen. Your father is examining the milk." I took out the milk to protect my reputation. Kate said something that made June's eyebrows rise. "Lunch?" I closed the refrigerator. "No, I don't have plans." Her voice grew cautious. "What do you need?" Kate answered. June sat at the table. "All right," she said. "Thursday." After they hung up, I poured a glass of milk I did not want. "What does she need?" She says nothing. Did she say it convincingly? She said she wanted to have lunch with me. Alone? June gave me a look. "Would that hurt your feelings?" "Deeply. I enjoy being excluded from conversations about sweaters." She asked me what I'm reading. I stopped with the glass halfway to my mouth. During the call, right after she asked how I was. "That's advanced." She sounded terrified. "Maybe she thinks there'll be a test." June smiled, but she picked up her phone again and studied the blank screen. "You don't believe her?" I said. "I believe she wants to try. That isn't the same thing." "No." "Are you going?" "Yes." "Do you want to?" She thought about it. "I want to. Thursday, June changed clothes 3 times. She settled on jeans, a green sweater, and the silver earrings Kate had given her 2 Christmases earlier. Then she took the earrings off because she worried they looked like a message. She put them back on because not wearing them also looked like a message. "I have never understood jewelry at this level," I said. "You've never had a daughter." I participated. "You bought her a fishing pole for her 10th birthday. She asked for one. She asked to go fishing. The pole implied access." June fastened the 2nd earring. "How do I look?" "Like a woman going to lunch. That's not helpful." "You look beautiful. That was too fast. I've had 41 years to prepare." Kate picked her up at noon. She came to the door rather than honking, which June noticed. She wore a navy coat and held nothing. No flowers, no pastry, no document requiring interpretation. "Hi, Dad. Do you need anything?" Kate winced. "I deserve that." "No, you didn't. I'm being difficult. You're enjoying it. A little." June came down the stairs carrying her purse. Kate looked at the earrings. "You wore them." June touched one. "I like them. I wasn't fishing, I know." They stood facing each other in our foyer, already tired from trying not to misstep. "Go eat," I told them. June was gone 2 hours and 16 minutes. I did not count on purpose. The clock simply became unusually noticeable. When Kate's car returned, both women remained inside it for several minutes. I watched from the living room without standing directly in front of the window. They did not hug before June got out, but Kate smiled at something she said. June came inside carrying a small paper bag. "What's that?" I asked. "Half a sandwich." "Did Kate need you to bring it home?" "She said I could." "How was lunch?" "Weird." "Good weird, mostly?" She took off her coat and hung it in the closet. Did she ask about the book? Yes. What did you tell her? That I abandoned it because the husband was obviously the murderer by page 40. Was he? I checked the end. That's cheating. That's editing. She carried the bag to the refrigerator, then leaned against the door. Kate apologized. For Christmas? For coming here afterward. For saying I was keeping score. That was a good apology. It was. What did you talk about for 2 hours? June looked puzzled. Not much. That seems statistically unlikely. We talked about her office. Then she stopped and said she was doing it again. What did you say? I told her I wanted to hear about her office. That probably confused her. It did. June smiled. She asked what I did with Patrice the last time we went out. I told her about that pottery place. Then she asked whether I ever wanted to take a class there. Do you? I don't know. That wasn't the point. No. She didn't ask because she needed a birthday present idea. I checked. How subtly? Not very. I put my arms around her. She let me hold her for a moment, then rested her cheek against my chest. It shouldn't feel like such a big thing, she said. It's a beginning. Beginnings are exhausting. Most things worth doing are badly designed. She pulled back. Kate said something about Evan. Of course she did. She stopped herself. That may be even more advanced than asking about the book. She said he's still angry with you. I can live with that. Can you? I started to answer. June waited. I'd prefer not to. That's different, I know. She touched my shirt where her cheek had been. I don't want to lose him, Martin. We won't. You don't know that. No? The honest answer made both of us uncomfortable. She went upstairs to finish packing for the lake. Her suitcase lay open on the bed with 4 sweaters, 3 pairs of shoes, a stack of books, 2 decks of cards, and enough snacks to support a highway closure. Why do you need crackers? I asked. People get hungry. Are there no stores near the lake? Not good ones. And the cookies? Alice likes oatmeal. You have met Alice twice. She mentioned it. 4 years ago? June placed the cookies beside the sweaters. I lifted them out. What are you doing? You're going on a trip, not provisioning one. I can bring cookies. You can. But did Patrice ask you to? No. Did Alice? No. Did Marjorie? No. She held out her hand. Give them back. I did. June looked at the package, then set it on the dresser instead of putting it in the suitcase. The cards can stay, she said. Did they ask for cards? I like cards. Then the cards stay. On Friday, Patrice pulled into our driveway in a silver car with a dent along the passenger door. She got out wearing sunglasses despite the cloudy sky. Where's the luggage? She called. In the house. Why? I wanted to see if you'd drive away without her. If she's not out in 3 minutes, I'm taking you. June appeared carrying her suitcase. Patrice looked at it. What's in there? Clothes? No casserole? No. Cookies? June glanced at me. No. I said nothing. Patrice opened the trunk. Alice and Marjorie were already in the back seat, both waving enthusiastically. June stopped at the porch steps. Call me when you get there, I said. It's a 2-hour drive, then call in 2 hours. You have food? I'm 66. That wasn't my question. I have food. Real food? Some of it has labels. Patrice took the suitcase from her. He'll survive. June kissed me. She lingered, one hand against my chest. I can stay, she whispered. No? You wouldn't be disappointed? I would be furious. That seems dramatic. I learned it from Evan. She gave me a warning look, then kissed me again. I watched the car disappear at the end of the street. The house felt larger before I had even gone back inside. I spent the first hour enjoying myself aggressively. I made coffee at 3 in the afternoon. I left the mug on the end table without a coaster. I turned on a basketball game at a volume June considered unnecessary and ate crackers over the rug. By 5, I had used the hand vacuum. At 6, I opened the refrigerator. June had left 2 labeled containers despite our discussion. Chili. Not chili. Soup. I chose the soup because the clarification seemed important. I carried the bowl to the table and sat in June's chair by accident. The view was different from there. I could see the mail stacked near my elbow, the crooked cabinet door, and the light over the stove that I always left on after leaving the room. My phone rang. For one foolish second, I hoped it was June. It was my brother Ed. Happy birthday, he said. My birthday is in March. Then I'm early. June stopped mailing you cards, didn't she? A long pause. What cards? Your system has been discontinued. Ed laughed as if I were joking. When I didn't, he said, Is June there? No. Everything okay? She went to the lake with Patrice. Without you? That is how going with Patrice works. He was quiet again. You sound lonely? I'm eating soup. That wasn't my question. Apparently marriage had trained me to hear June even in other people. I am a little, I said. Ed cleared his throat. You want me to come over? The offer surprised me enough that I looked at the empty chair across from me. No. But thank you. You sure? Yes. We talked for 15 minutes about nothing important. It was the longest conversation I had had with my brother in months that June had not arranged. After we hung up, I washed my bowl. At 8:17, June called from the cottage. Laughter and clattering dishes filled the background. We're here, she said. You're 6 hours late reporting. We stopped for lunch. Did you make it? No. Did you clear the table? There was a pause. Only my own plate. I smiled. How are the cards? Marjorie cheats. I heard that, a woman called. She does, Patrice shouted. June lowered her voice. How are you? I looked around the quiet kitchen. Good, she waited. Lonely, I admitted, but good. Do you want me to come home early? No. The answer hurt and pleased her at the same time. I could hear both. What did you do today? She asked. I told her about the basketball game, the crackers, the hand vacuum, and Ed's failed birthday system. She laughed in the places I hoped she would. When we said goodnight, neither of us mentioned Evan. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time, his name filled the screen. I answered. Hi, Dad. Hi. He took a breath. Is Mom at the lake? She is. With Aunt Patrice? And 2 card sharks. I called her earlier. She didn't answer. She may be busy. Can you tell her I called? I thought of the legal pad, the hotel dinner, the clean roasting pan, and June asking me to stand beside her. You can leave a message, I said. I did. Then she'll see it. Silence. Right, he said. Neither of us hung up. Finally, Evan asked, What are you doing tonight? I looked at the empty bowl in the drying rack. Nothing much. Do you want company? The question sounded unfamiliar in his mouth. I let it sit there long enough to make sure it was real. Yes, I said. I think I do. Evan arrived 40 minutes later, carrying a pizza and a 6-pack of beer. I opened the door and looked at both. You bought dinner. You said you weren't doing much. I already ate. He glanced past me. Mom left you soup? I can feed myself. Did she leave you soup? Yes. He nodded as if a theory had been confirmed and stepped inside. He had changed out of the college sweatshirt. He wore jeans and a dark jacket, his hair still damp from the rain. The pizza box tilted in one hand. Keep that level, I said. I know how to carry pizza. You sliced a ham into building materials. Kate sent you the picture? She documented the event? He almost smiled. We took the pizza and beer into the kitchen. Evan opened the refrigerator, saw the second labeled container, and pointed. Not chili soup? Apparently the distinction is legally important. What's in the other one? Chili. Then why did she label the soup? I've been trying not to ask. He put 2 beers on the table and the rest in the refrigerator. Then he opened a cabinet, took out plates for both of us, and closed the door. I noticed. I wished I hadn't noticed, because once I did, every ordinary movement became loaded. He found the bottle opener without asking. He took napkins from the drawer. He did not call his mother to ask whether the pizza could sit directly on the table. We ate in silence for several minutes. Evan looked toward June's empty chair. Does she like the lake? She's been there for 4 hours. You talked to her, she called. What did she say? That Marjorie cheats at cards. Who's Marjorie? One of Patrice's friends. Does Mom know her? Yes. How? I took another piece of pizza by having a life. He sat back. I didn't mean it like that. I know. You're still mad at me? Yes. Mom told me you weren't supposed to speak for her. I can be mad on my own. He picked at the label on his beer. The basketball game continued in the living room. Every few seconds, the crowd on television roared over something neither of us saw. Evan looked around the kitchen. Did she leave a list? For what? Things you're supposed to do. No note. She labeled the soup. That's a note. It's 2 words. 3, if you count not. I don't. He smiled despite himself. When Evan was younger, laughter had always been our way back into a room after an argument. I could tease him about his temper. He could tease me about being stubborn. We would both understand that affection had resumed, without either of us having to touch the dangerous subject directly. I felt the old door opening. I let it close. "Why are you here?" I asked. His smile faded. "You said you wanted company." "I did." "Then why does there have to be another reason?" "Because you haven't called me since Christmas." "You haven't called me either." "That's true." He folded his napkin into a narrow strip. "Claire wanted me out of the house. That sounds like another reason. She said I've been walking around like I'm waiting for everyone to admit they overreacted. Have you?" "Maybe." "Has anyone?" "No." "How frustrating." "Can you stop?" "I can. I'm deciding whether to." Evan looked toward the living room. This was a mistake. He pushed back his chair. "Sit down." "Why?" "Because if you leave every time you don't like how a conversation feels, you'll spend a lot of money on pizza you don't eat." He remained standing. I took a drink of beer. After a few seconds, he sat. "I don't know what you want from me," he said. "Tonight?" "Nothing. That's not how it feels." "What did you want from me?" "I asked if you wanted company." "Yes. And now you're interrogating me." "I asked one question." "You ask questions like, there's a correct answer. There usually isn't. That makes it worse." I studied him across the table. He had Claire's expensive-looking watch on his wrist and a spot of pizza sauce near his thumb. He looked successful, tired, and irritated. 3 conditions he often mistook for adulthood. "Your mother thinks I answer for her too much," I said. Evan frowned. "Okay, she's right." "Is she?" "Yes." He waited, suspicious. "I've spent most of the last 2 weeks wanting to call you and explain what you did." "You have explained it. I've told you it was wrong. That isn't the same as explaining why." "Do you know why?" "No." That surprised him. I continued. "I know why it hurt her. I know why it made me angry. I don't know why you said it. I told you. Diane thought she was catering. That explains the timing. It was a joke. That explains nothing." He looked down at the table. I waited. He took a long drink and peeled more of the label from the bottle. "Claire's family is different from us," he said. "I've noticed they don't store paint over Christmas ornaments." "What?" "Nothing." "Continue." He gave me a warning look. "They're not better," he said. "I'm not saying that." "I didn't say you were." Her dad notices things. "Such as?" "How people dress, how they talk, where they went to college. He doesn't say it directly. He prefers jokes." Evan's eyes lifted to mine. I hadn't meant to make the connection for him. It was there anyway. "Sometimes," he admitted. I thought of Claire's father at Thanksgiving, asking whether our town had finally gotten a decent restaurant. I had laughed. June had recommended 3 places. Evan had changed the subject. "Did he say something about us?" I asked. "No." "About your mother?" "No." "Then what does this have to do with Christmas?" I wanted the house to look good. I wanted dinner to go right. It would have been easier if you learned to cook. I can cook. You can heat food. Claire can cook. Then why did your mother arrive before 9? Because Mom offered. She offered after you asked. I asked for the ham, and the rolls, fine, and the sweet potatoes. I know what I asked for. The green beans, the cake. I said I know. His voice sharpened. He breathed through his nose and looked away. I gave him the silence June had given him. "I wanted it to look like we had it handled," he said. "Did you?" "No." "And your mother made that obvious. She didn't mean to. That wasn't my question." He rubbed the bare patch on the beer label. "When Diane thought Mom was the caterer, I felt—" He stopped. "What?" "Embarrassed." The words sat between us. I felt anger rise again, fast and clean. "You were embarrassed by your mother?" "No. That's not what I mean. You just said it. I was embarrassed that it looked like we'd brought her in to do everything. You had. She's my mother. That seems to be the loophole." "Dad." "What?" "I'm trying to explain." "Then explain it." He stood again, this time bracing both hands on the table. "I was embarrassed because Diane saw exactly what was happening. Mom was in an apron carrying trash, and I was standing there with a drink. I knew how it looked. It looked accurate." "I know." The words came out louder than he intended. We stared at each other. Evan sat slowly. "I knew," he repeated. And instead of saying that, I made it sound like it was normal, like it was a joke everybody understood. Why? Because if I laughed first, then nobody could think I didn't notice. I leaned back. There it was, not an excuse, not yet an apology, but something ugly enough to be true. You made her the punchline so you wouldn't be, I said. He flinched. I guess. You guess? Yes. Fine. Yes. The crowd on television erupted again. Somewhere in the house, the furnace came on. Evan pressed his palms against his eyes. I hate talking to you like this. I'm not enjoying it. You look calm. That doesn't mean calm. He dropped his hands. When I was younger, he said, you used to make jokes whenever things got uncomfortable. I still do. You made Mom laugh in the car, didn't you? I stared at him. Kate told me what you said in the driveway, he continued. She said it was the kind of line you'd been waiting your whole life to use. That's a generous interpretation of your sister's opinion. You know what I mean. I did. Evan tapped one finger against the bottle. You taught me that if you can make the room laugh, you get to decide what the uncomfortable thing means. I wanted to tell him I had also taught him to change a tire and admit when he was wrong. I wanted to say he was 39, not 19. At some point, a father stops being the author of every sentence his son chooses. All of that was true, so was what he had said. I did, I answered. His face changed. He had expected a fight. That doesn't make what you said my fault, I know, but I did teach you that. He nodded. And I let your mother do too much. Another nod. I liked it that way. Evan looked at me. I liked knowing she would remember things, I said. I liked never having to wonder whether the family would stay connected, because she did the connecting. I called that her gift, so I wouldn't have to call it work. That sounds like something she said. She said I made it sound beautiful. Mom does make it beautiful. Yes. We both looked toward her empty chair. Evan's voice dropped. Is she really done doing dinners? For 6 months? What happens after 6 months? You should ask her in 6 months. Kate's birthday is next month. So I've heard. She always does the lemon chicken. Then Kate has had many opportunities to observe it. He laughed once, then stopped when he realized I was serious. Claire thinks we should host, he said. That's kind. She also says I'm cooking. That's brave. She won't even let me ask Mom for the recipe. Recipes are information. She said I already have too much of Mom's unpaid labor in my mouth. I stared at him. Claire said that? She's very mad. I'm beginning to appreciate her. Evan picked up another slice of pizza. After a moment, he said, Do you think Mom will come to Kate's dinner? If I cook? I don't know. You could ask. So could you. He chewed, thinking. Not yet, he said. No. We finished the pizza. He carried the plates to the sink, rinsed them, and loaded the dishwasher. This time, he closed it. At the door, he put on his jacket and stood with one hand on the knob. Don't tell Mom what I said tonight. I looked at him. I mean, I want to tell her myself. That would be better, but not while she's away. No. He opened the door. Dad, yes? Did I ruin Christmas? I thought about June crying in the Bankus parking lot, the labeled soup, Kate wearing a navy coat to lunch, and the clean roasting pan on the lower shelf. You changed it, I said. That's not an answer. It's the one I have. He nodded and stepped onto the porch. After he drove away, I went back to the kitchen. His empty beer bottle stood beside mine. I peeled the loosened label the rest of the way off and dropped it into the trash. My phone buzzed. June had sent a photograph of 4 hands holding cards over a table. One hand, hers, held 3 queens. Winning, she wrote. I typed, proud of you, then deleted it. Pride sounded too much like approval, and she had not gone there to succeed for me. I wrote, Are you having fun? The answer came almost immediately. Yes. I looked at the empty chairs, the pizza box, and the closed dishwasher. Good, I replied. I did not tell her Evan had come. Not because I wanted to keep a secret, but because for once, neither of them needed me to carry something between them. June came home Sunday afternoon with wind-reddened cheeks, a paper bag of saltwater taffy, and $12 she claimed she had won from Marjorie. Did Marjorie admit you beat her? I asked. She said the cards were cold. What does that mean? Nobody knows. That's how she protects the mythology. Patrice carried the suitcase to the porch and refused to come inside. I've spent 4 days with your wife, she told me. I have exhausted my supply of courtesy. You started with less than most people. Take the bag, Martin. June hugged her sister. Patrice held on longer than either of them expected. then patted June's back twice and hurried to the car before the moment could become visible. I carried the suitcase upstairs. June followed me, looking into rooms as if the house might have changed in her absence. Did you water the plant? Yes. The one in the dining room? There's only one plant. There are 3. I stopped on the stairs. She smiled. I watered them before I left. That was dishonest. It was research. In the bedroom, she unpacked sweaters and told me about the cottage. Alice had brought a puzzle nobody finished. Marjorie had accused the restaurant waiter of making the dining room dark so customers couldn't find their food. Patrice had gone outside every morning in slippers to photograph the same gray lake. June spoke quickly, with a brightness I had not heard in weeks. She had enjoyed herself. She was also trying to prove that enjoyment had not come at my expense. I put her shoes in the closet. Evan came over Friday, I said. Her hand stopped inside the suitcase. You didn't tell me. He asked me not to. He wanted to tell you himself. Did he? I don't know. Did he call? He left a message yesterday. What did it say? He hoped I was having fun. He said there was no need to call back. That sounds like him trying. It does. She sat on the edge of the bed. What did you two talk about? That's his to tell you. June looked at me carefully. You're enjoying this new restraint. I hate every second. That's reassuring? I sat beside her. I'm not keeping secrets from you. He came for pizza. We talked. He said he wants to tell you himself. All right, she touched my knee. Thank you. For what? For not making me come home to manage whatever happened between you. I covered her hand with mine. There was one thing, I said. Her eyes narrowed. Martin. He closed the dishwasher. She laughed and leaned against me. Kate's birthday invitation arrived 4 days later, in a message to both of us. Dinner at Evan and Claire's on the 12th, 6 o'clock. I am contributing nothing except my presence and excellent conversation. You are both invited as guests. Mom, guest is underlined emotionally. June read it over breakfast. Do you want to go? I asked. It's Kate's birthday. That's an observation. Yes, I want to go. Do you want to bring anything? Yes. Are you going to? She looked offended. I can bring her present. Presents are permitted. Thank you. You're welcome. What are you going to bring? Myself an adequate conversation. She kicked me under the table. Evan called that evening. June answered in the living room while I sat beside her, reading a magazine I did not turn a page of. Hi, she said. His voice was low enough that I could not make out the words. Yes, we got the invitation. A pause. Yes, we'd like to come. She listened. No, I'm not bringing food. Another pause. I wasn't planning to. Her eyes moved toward me, amused now. Evan, I said, I'm not bringing anything. He spoke again. June's amusement faded into suspicion. Why are you asking 3 different ways? His answer made her lean back. Okay, she said. Thank you for telling me. When she hung up, I waited. He said he wanted to make sure I didn't think he was secretly hoping I'd bring something. Were you? A little. What's he cooking? He wouldn't say. Perhaps food disclosure has become a family boundary. She set the phone down. He also apologized for not asking whether I wanted to make all that food at Christmas. That sounds new. He said you didn't tell him to say it. I didn't. He made a point of that. That sounds like him. June looked toward the dark television screen. He said he was glad I had fun at the lake. Did you tell him you won $12? No, he might ask for a loan. On Kate's birthday, we arrived at 6:03. June had delayed us in the driveway. Not early, she said when I reached for the door handle at 5:57. 3 minutes is not early. It's enough time to get handed a bowl. So, we sat in the car while the porch lights came on, automatically. Claire opened the door. She wore a burgundy dress and an expression that was too welcoming to be casual. You came. We accepted, I said. I know, I'm still glad. She hugged June, then me. The dining chairs were not in the foyer. I said nothing. Claire saw me noticing. We've abandoned flow, a wise decision. The house smelled like garlic, lemon, and something slightly burned. Music played in the living room. Kate stood near the fireplace in a blue blouse, opening a bottle of wine. Guests, she announced. Actual guests. June handed her a wrapped present. Is this food? Kate asked. Open it and suffer the consequences. They hugged. This time, June held on. Evan came out of the kitchen wearing a gray apron. Flour streaked one side of his jeans. Hi, he said. June looked at the apron, then at him. Hi. He hugged her carefully, as if uncertain which parts of the relationship were weight-bearing. She hugged him back. "Can I get you something to drink?" he asked. June blinked. White wine. He poured it himself. I accepted a beer and followed everyone into the living room. From where I sat, I could see half the kitchen. 2 pans waited on the stove. A cutting board held lemon halves, garlic skins, and a chef's knife resting dangerously close to the edge. June saw the knife. Her body leaned forward before she caught herself. Claire caught it too. She took a sip of wine and looked away, allowing June the dignity of not being congratulated. Kate opened her present. June had bought her a green ceramic bowl from the pottery place she had mentioned at lunch. "This is beautiful," Kate said. "I thought you'd like the color." "I do." Kate turned it over to read the artist's name, then looked at June. "You went back there?" "Last week, alone, with Patrice." Kate smiled. "I'm glad." She did not ask whether the bowl was dishwasher safe. Growth arrived in tiny, ridiculous measurements. A timer sounded in the kitchen. Evan froze. Claire said, "That's yours." "I know." He disappeared. Metal clattered. An oven door opened. A word was spoken that would not have improved the birthday atmosphere. June gripped the stem of her glass. "Stay," I murmured. "I am staying. You're standing." She looked down. She was halfway out of her chair. June sat again. Evan returned carrying a platter of chicken. The pieces were unevenly browned, some pale, and some approaching the color of mahogany. "Dinner," he announced. At the table he served Kate first, then Claire, then June. He gave me the darkest piece. "I'm honored," I said. "You like crispy." This crossed crispy near the county line. "Eat your salad." The chicken was dry, the potatoes were lumpy. The carrots had been seasoned with what Evan insisted was cumin, and what Claire believed was cinnamon. Nobody died. More importantly, nobody asked June to identify what had gone wrong. Kate told a story about a disastrous office presentation. Claire admitted she had once pretended to understand wine for an entire dinner and accidentally praised vinegar. Evan laughed hard enough to drop his fork. June ate everything on her plate. When we finished, she reached automatically for the platter. Evan moved it out of her reach. "I've got it. I'm only passing it. I've got it." His tone was too sharp. June's hand remained in the air. Claire looked at him. "She can pass a platter, Evan." "I know. I just meant she doesn't have to." "I know I don't have to," June said. The table tightened around them. Evan put the platter back where it had been. "Sorry." June passed it to him. "Thank you," he said. It was awkward, imperfect, and far more honest than pretending the last month had taught everyone exactly how to behave. Kate cut the cake, a chocolate one from a bakery. Before handing out slices, she turned to her mother. "Do you want a corner or a middle?" June stared at her. "What?" Kate asked. "You've never asked me that. You always take whatever's left." "I like the corner." Kate placed the first corner slice in front of her. June smiled down at it. After cake, Evan and Claire cleared the table. Kate started to help, then remembered it was her birthday and returned to her wine. I stayed seated beside June. From the kitchen came running water and an argument about whether knives pointed up or down in the dishwasher. "Down," June called. Everyone stopped. She looked at me. "I chose to," she whispered. "Noted." Evan leaned around the doorway. "Down? Unless you dislike your fingers. Thank you." The kitchen argument resumed. When we put on our coats, Evan asked June if he could walk us out. He followed us onto the porch without a jacket. Cold air turned his breath white. "I'm sorry about the chicken," he said. June smiled. "It was food. High praise. I enjoyed dinner." He put his hands in his pockets. "I'm glad." None of us moved toward the car. Finally, Evan looked at his mother. "I meant what I said on the phone, about Christmas. I should have asked what you wanted to do instead of assuming you'd do whatever I needed." June nodded. "I appreciate that. I'm not finished figuring out the rest. I know." He looked at me, then back at her. "I came over while you were gone. Your father told me. We talked. I know." "He didn't tell you what I said?" "No." Something in Evan's face relaxed. "I will," he said. "Just not tonight." "All right." He hugged her again. This time, there was nothing careful about it. In the car, June waited until we had turned off Evan's street. "I almost washed the knives," she said. "I saw. I could see them pointing up. A dangerous household. They'll learn, that's the theory." She looked back through the rear window, though the house was already out of sight. "I missed him," she said. "I know." Don't make that mean I'm ready to forget. I won't. And don't make it mean the boundary worked like some trick. I won't. She reached across the console and took my hand. I just missed my son. I held her hand the rest of the way home, letting that be complicated enough. February left slowly, in wet shoes and gray skies. Kate called on Sunday afternoons. The first few conversations sounded like interviews. What are you reading? Nothing? What did you do today? Laundry. Did anything make you laugh? Your questions. By the third week, she stopped trying to prove she was interested and became interested. She told June about work, then asked about the pottery place. June admitted she had signed up for a Saturday class with Patrice. Kate said, "You'll be good at that." June answered, "Maybe I'll be terrible." They both went quiet. Then Kate said, "That could be fun too." June told me about that sentence twice. Evan called less predictably. Once he phoned to ask how the lake had been. He did not ask for Patrice's address, a recipe, or an opinion about Claire. He and June talked for 9 minutes about cold weather and card games. When they hung up, June stared at the phone as if it had performed a difficult trick. Another time, he called because his dishwasher was making a grinding sound. June listened for 30 seconds before asking, "Are you calling me because you want to talk, or because you think I know about dishwashers? Both?" "I don't know about dishwashers. Dad does. He's sitting beside me." She did not hand me the phone. Evan laughed. "Fine. How are you?" The dishwasher continued grinding for another week. Nobody starved. Birthdays occurred. The resurrection survived. Kate made restaurant reservations for Easter and sent the address to everyone without asking June to confirm the time, select the menu, or call any relative who might be offended. The meal was noisy and overpriced. June wore a yellow blouse and arrived with nothing in her hands. She kept checking beneath her chair for the purse she had placed on the table. "You feel guilty," I said. "I feel light. Those can coexist." "I know." She ordered dessert. Claire came to see us on the first warm Saturday in March. I was in the driveway washing winter grime from the car when she pulled up. She got out carrying no bag, box, or floral arrangement. Our family had become very careful about arriving empty-handed. "Is June home?" she asked. "Yes." "Are you?" I looked at the hose in my hand. Philosophically, "Can I talk to both of you?" That sounds serious. It's not. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I shut off the water. June was in the dining room sorting mail. When she saw Claire, she stood too quickly, then seemed unsure whether to hug her. Claire solved it by crossing the room and putting both arms around her. "I should have come sooner," she said. June hugged her back. "You came now." We sat in the kitchen. I made coffee. Claire wrapped her hands around the mug but did not drink. "I'm not here for Evan," she said. "That sounds like something people say immediately before talking about Evan," I told her. She smiled. "He knows I'm here. Then you're already different from his father." June looked at me. "I'm learning." Claire took a breath. "I've wanted to apologize in person." "You apologized that day," June said. "I apologized for his joke. That wasn't your joke." "No, but the day was partly mine." June waited. Claire looked around the kitchen. When Evan suggested hosting Christmas, I said yes because I thought we'd do it together. Then he started listing everything you could make. He asked, June said. I agreed. I know. That's what I kept telling myself. Claire traced one finger around the rim of her mug. "You came in that morning, and I was relieved," she continued. "Not just grateful, relieved. The second you tied on the apron, I stopped paying attention to how much you were doing. You told me to sit down twice. I told you to sit down while handing you things." June looked toward the counter. Claire's voice tightened. "When Diane made that mistake, I was in the living room. I heard her ask whether you were with the caterer." June lifted her eyes. "I heard it," Claire repeated, before Evan said anything. I could have walked into the kitchen and said, "That's June. She's my mother-in-law, and she made most of this meal." I didn't. Why? Because I was embarrassed too. The answer changed the room. Claire swallowed. "Not of you, of us." I knew what it looked like. I knew we had let you spend the whole day working, while we accepted compliments on the house and the dinner. Then Evan made the joke, and I was horrified, because he said out loud the thing I had already been trying not to see. June's face had gone very still. "You didn't call me the help," she said. "I didn't have to." I understood why Diane had looked almost eager to be blamed. Blame was cleaner when one person could carry it. Claire wiped beneath one eye. I'm sorry. June reached across the table, then stopped before touching her. I appreciate you saying that. I don't expect you to make me feel better. I know, that sounded like I wanted credit for not wanting credit. It did a little. Claire laughed, embarrassed. June's hand completed the distance and rested over hers. Welcome to this family, I said. We can ruin any sentence. Claire looked at me. Evan gets that from you, so I've been told. He gets something else from you too. June squeezed Claire's hand, perhaps warning her. Claire continued anyway. He thinks if he stays calm enough, the other person becomes unreasonable. I set down my coffee. That sounds more like his mother. June kicked me under the table. Claire almost smiled. He's been trying to figure out what he was afraid of that day. He talked to me about it, I said. He told me. June looked between us. He's now discussed this with both of you. He said he wanted to tell you himself, I reminded her. I know, he hasn't. Claire let go of June's hand. He will? When he's figured out how to make it sound right, June asked. Claire considered that. Probably. That's part of the problem. I know. June stood and carried her coffee to the sink, though it was still half full. I don't need a polished confession, she said. I need him to stop using time to make sure he never looks as bad as the thing he did. Claire nodded. He's ashamed. So am I. That surprised Claire. June turned back toward us. I'm ashamed I let it happen for so long. I'm ashamed I liked being thanked enough to accept being used. I'm ashamed I walked around that kitchen seeing every job, except the one where I sat down. You have nothing to be ashamed of, Claire said. June gave her a sad smile. Don't tidy it up. Claire recognized the phrase, though June had never said it to her before. All right, she answered. We sat with the untidy version. After a while, Claire said, My father intimidates Evan. He intimidates furniture, I said. Martin. What? He evaluates chairs before sitting. Claire's smile came and went. My dad grew up with nothing, she said. He spent his whole life learning the rules of rooms he thought he wasn't born to enter. Now, he acts like he invented the rules. Evan notices every little comment. Has your father said something about us? June asked. Not directly. That seems to be a family specialty, I said. Claire looked at me. He asked why you still lived in the same neighborhood after all these years. Because our house is there. That's what I said. What did he mean? He wanted to know why you hadn't moved somewhere more impressive. June's mouth tightened. Claire continued. He asked whether you always cooked everything from scratch. He said it like it was charming. Evan heard judgment. Anne translated it into shame, I said. He wants my father to respect him. So he made his own mother small. Claire's eyes lowered. Yes. The answer was so direct that I had nowhere to send my anger. June returned to the table. Your father didn't make Evan say it, she said. No, and you didn't. No, and I didn't. No. Claire looked at me. I understood my turn. Neither did I. June sat. Claire finally drank her coffee. It had gone cold, but she did not ask me to warm it. Before leaving, she stood in the front hall with June. Your birthday is next month, she said. So I'm told. Evan wants to cook for you. June glanced at me. I kept my face neutral enough to cause injury. He asked you to ask me, she said. No, he told me not to mention it. Then why are you mentioning it? Because if I waited for him to make everything perfect, we'd all die first. June laughed. Claire put on her coat. Pretend I said nothing. I'm not good at that anymore. I've noticed. They hugged again. After Claire drove away, June and I returned to the kitchen. 3 mugs sat on the table, and a fourth, the one I had used that morning, remained beside the sink. June reached for Claire's. I took it first. I can carry a mug. I know, you're doing the thing. What thing? Performing support. I'm clearing the table. Because I stood up. I was already moving. You were sitting. Emotionally, I was moving. She laughed and let me take the mug. At the sink, I rinsed all 4. June leaned against the counter beside me. Are you going to tell me what Evan said when he came over? No, he told Claire. That makes it more important that he tell you. What if he doesn't? Then that tells you something too. She watched water run over the mugs. Do you think I should let him cook for my birthday? That sounds dangerous. Martin, yes. You think I should? I think you want to. I do. Then yes. She folded her arms. What? You didn't ask whether I'd rather go to a restaurant. Would you? No. Then I remain available for additional guidance. June looked out the window. Sunlight touched the first green shoots near the fence. I don't want my birthday to become a test he can fail. Then don't make it one. He'll make it one. Probably. And if I go, everyone will act like it means everything is fixed. Tell them it doesn't. And if I don't go, they'll interpret that too. She sighed. This is why I used to say yes. I know. It was easier for everyone. She looked at me. Low blow, I said. Accurate blow. I dried my hands. Choose the evening you want. Let the rest of us survive our interpretations. June was quiet for a while. Then she took her phone from the table and called Evan. He answered on the second ring. Hi, Mom. Claire told me you want to cook for my birthday. Silence. June closed her eyes. No, she didn't betray you. She got tired of waiting. His voice came fast through the phone. June listened. I don't need anything elaborate, she said. I don't want a surprise, and I'm not arriving early. Another pause. Yes, I'd like to come. Her face softened. No, I won't bring anything. Evan said something that made her smile. I know you know. When they hung up, June kept the phone in her hand. What did he say, I asked. That the invitation comes with a legally binding prohibition against casseroles. Good. He sounded nervous. He should be. She looked at me. Beside you, I corrected. June placed the phone down. For the first time since Christmas, she looked forward to seeing our son without immediately planning what she would do for him. The hope frightened her more than the distance had. I knew because it frightened me too. The morning of June's birthday, I woke to find her standing in front of the closet in her slip. 3 dresses lay across the bed. A green one Kate liked, a dark blue one I liked, and a red one June had bought for a wedding 6 years earlier and never worn again because she said the sleeves made her look like an upholstered chair. What time is it? I asked. 7. Dinner is in 11 hours. I'm aware. Are we walking there? She held up the blue dress. Too formal for standing in our bedroom? For tonight. No. What if Claire wears pants? I'll alert the authorities. She placed the blue dress on the bed and picked up the green. I watched her compare them in the mirror. You're nervous, I said. I'm choosing a dress. At 7 in the morning, I have pottery class. You're not wearing a dress to pottery. I'm choosing now, so I don't have to think about it later. Which is a thing relaxed people do. June looked at me through the mirror. I sat up. What are you afraid of? That's dramatic. It's 7 in the morning, and the upholstered chair has entered negotiations. She dropped the red dress. I don't know what tonight is supposed to be. Dinner, you know what I mean. It doesn't have to mean more than you want it to. That sounds nice, but everybody will be watching. Everybody who? You, Kate, Claire, Evan? He'll be too busy setting something on fire. I smiled. June did not. I got out of bed and stood behind her. In the mirror, we looked older than the people who had bought the red dress, though not necessarily wiser. If it's awkward, I said. If the food is bad, we eat cake. If Evan says something stupid, you decide what to do with it. What will you do? Stand beside you. Literally? Unless there's assigned seating. She touched my hand. I want to have a good time, she said. That's allowed. It feels disloyal to how hurt I was. No. What if it looks like I'm letting him off easy? To whom? She looked at herself. I kissed her temple. Wear the blue. You always pick the blue. You look good in blue. That isn't a reason. It's the entire purpose of a dress. She smiled finally. At pottery class, she made a bowl that leaned visibly to one side. She brought it home and placed it on the kitchen counter with the pride of someone displaying a trophy. It's crooked, I said. It has character. It appears to be leaving. Patrice made an ashtray. Patrice doesn't smoke. She got angry at the clay. The crooked bowl stayed on the counter while June went upstairs to change. When she came down in the blue dress and silver earrings, she carried no purse. Where's your purse? I asked. I'm trying something. What if you need lipstick? I have pockets. What if you need 17 receipts and a peppermint? She went back upstairs and got her purse. We arrived at Evan and Claire's at 6. Exactly 6. June had watched the car clock change before allowing me to open my door. The foyer smelled like onions and rosemary. No chairs blocked the flow. A small vase of yellow tulips stood on the entry table. Claire appeared from the dining room, wearing black pants. June looked at me. I whispered, "Authorities notified." She elbowed me. Claire hugged her. "Happy birthday, thank you." "You look beautiful." "So do you." Claire turned to me. "You clean up well? I've been told the entire purpose of clothing is appearance." June took off her coat before she could hit me with it. Kate arrived behind us, carrying a wrapped present and a bottle of wine. "I was told beverages are permitted," she said. "Who told you?" June asked. "Claire. I got it in writing." Evan came from the kitchen. He wore a white shirt with the sleeves rolled unevenly to his elbows. A dark apron covered his front. He had a smear of sauce near his wrist and the strained expression of a man who had been informed that 6 burners did not guarantee 6 simultaneous successes. "Happy birthday, Mom." He kissed June's cheek. "Thank you." They looked at each other for 1 second too long. Then a timer sounded. Evan pointed toward the kitchen. "That's probably good." "Probably?" Claire asked. He disappeared. Claire led us into the living room. A fire burned low in the fireplace. Music played softly. On the coffee table sat a small plate of cheese, crackers, and olives arranged with suspicious neatness. "Did Evan do this?" I asked. He cut the cheese. "That wasn't my question. I arranged it for public safety." June picked up an olive, then sat on the sofa. She did not ask whether anything needed doing. I saw the effort. Kate sat beside her. "What did you make in class?" she asked. "A bowl. Successful? It can hold 3 wrapped candies if nobody bumps the table. That sounds successful to me." Kate handed June the gift. "You can open it now, unless Mom has rules," I said. "It's her birthday," Kate replied. "She is Mom." June unwrapped a hardcover mystery by an author she had mentioned at lunch. Inside the cover, Kate had written, "No husband in this one." I checked. June read the inscription twice. "Thank you. I also have the receipt. I'm keeping it." Kate's face brightened. From the kitchen came a metal crash. Everyone turned. Evan appeared in the doorway holding a whisk. Nothing broke. Claire stood. "Do you need help? I need to know whether cream sauce is supposed to look grainy." June's body moved before the rest of her. Her feet shifted toward the kitchen. Evan saw. He lowered the whisk. "No," he said. "Sorry. I don't need to know." "You may want to know," June said. "I do. But I can look it up. You're serving it in 20 minutes. Then I can look it up quickly." Claire joined him. "I'll help." Evan nodded. They returned to the kitchen together. June sat down again. "Cream got too hot," she murmured. Kate picked up a cracker. "Natural consequences. It could still be fixed." "Mom, I'm sitting." "You are." They shared a look and smiled. Dinner was served 28 minutes late. Evan had made roast beef, mashed potatoes, asparagus, and a cream sauce that remained slightly grainy but tasted better than it looked. The table was set with the good china Claire had once told us she was afraid to use. A place card sat above every plate. June was written in Evan's uneven block letters at the chair facing the windows, nowhere near the kitchen door. She touched the card before sitting. "It's so Dad doesn't take your seat," Evan said. "I can read," I told him. "History says otherwise." He served June first. The meal began stiffly. Every question sounded more meaningful than it was. "Do you want more water? Are you comfortable? Is the sauce okay?" June answered each one as if walking across loose boards. Then Kate told us Patrice had sent her a photograph of the crooked bowl with the message, "Your mother has become dangerous." June defended the bowl. I suggested it might be used to store objects that needed to slide left. Evan laughed. Claire brought up Patrice's ashtray, and within minutes June was telling the whole story of the pottery class. She acted out her sister slapping wet clay, while the instructor begged her to center herself. Evan laughed so hard he had to set down his glass. "What did Aunt Patrice say?" he asked. "She said the clay should center itself if it wanted to be useful. That sounds exactly like her." "You haven't called her in a year," June said. The laughter stopped. Evan's face tightened. June saw it. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," he said. She looked at him. "You're right, I haven't." He took a drink. The old version of June would have softened the moment. She would have explained that Patrice was difficult on the phone, or said time got away from everyone. Instead, she ate another bite of asparagus. The conversation recovered without her help. After dinner, Claire brought out a lemon cake from the bakery. It had pale yellow icing and no writing except a small white flower. "We decided not to risk lettering," Evan said. "I wrote Happy Birthday twice," Claire explained. "Both attempts, on paper." Kate lit the candles. There were 6, one for each decade, and an extra, she said, for future trouble. We sang. June closed her eyes before blowing them out. Evan cut the first slice and put it in front of her. Corner, he said. It's round, Kate pointed out. Symbolic corner. June laughed. She opened Claire's gift, a blue scarf, and my gift. Tickets to a spring concert she had mentioned once, and assumed I had forgotten. From Evan came a small wooden box. Inside was a set of recipe cards, blank except for one. At the top, in his handwriting, he had written, "Things I learn because I tried." June ran her thumb over the card. "You bought me homework. For me, I'm keeping the recipes. You get to decide if you ever want to teach me one." Her eyes filled. "Thank you," she said. Evan looked down. It sounded less strange in the store. "No, I like it." The gift could have become the ending to the evening. Everyone could have admired it, washed the plates, and gone home feeling the right amount of improved. Instead, when Kate and Claire began clearing the table, Evan said, "Can we talk before you leave?" June looked at me. "Of course," she said. Kate froze with 2 plates in her hands. Evan added, "Just Mom and Dad?" Claire nodded before Kate could object. "We'll clean up," she said. Slowly. Evan led us into the living room. The fire had burned down to glowing wood. June sat on the sofa. I took the chair across from her. Evan remained standing. "You can sit," June said. "I'm okay. You're making me nervous." He sat beside her, leaving a careful space between them. For several seconds, he looked at his hands. Then he said, "I'm sorry I waited this long." June did not answer. I kept thinking if I understood exactly why I said it, I could explain it in a way that didn't sound as bad. "That sounds like you," I said. June gave me a look. "Beside," I murmured. Evan almost smiled, but the moment was too fragile. "I told Dad some of this," he said. "And Claire. I should have told you first. I'm listening now." He drew a breath. "When Diane thought you were catering, I was embarrassed." June's face changed. "Not because of you," he said quickly. "I know that sounds like what I mean. It isn't. Then don't rush." He nodded. "I was embarrassed because she saw what I was doing. You were in an apron carrying trash. I had a drink in my hand. I had spent weeks acting like I was hosting this amazing Christmas, but you were the reason any of it worked." June folded her hands in her lap. "I could have said that," Evan continued. "I could have introduced you and told her you were my mother and that I had asked too much of you. Instead, I made a joke. Because if I laughed first, I thought nobody could accuse me of not seeing it. What did you think they would accuse you of? Needing you?" June looked down. Evan's voice roughened. "I'm 39. I had a house full of people I wanted to impress, and I still needed my mother to make dinner work. You could have needed me without using me. I know. Do you? I'm starting to." The kitchen faucet ran in the next room. Plates touched quietly. Evan stared at the dying fire. "Claire's dad makes me feel like I'm always one mistake away from proving I don't belong in the life I have. That isn't his fault. Not all of it. I hear things he probably doesn't even mean. I wanted the house and dinner to look effortless because I wanted him to think I was capable." June's eyes stayed on her hands. "And I was capable," Evan said, "of asking you to do it." He wiped one palm against his trousers. "Then Diane saw you. She saw the truth before I was ready to. So I turned it into a joke about you instead of admitting something about me." June looked at him. Evan's eyes were wet now, though his voice remained steady. "I called you the help because I was afraid of looking like a man who still needed help." He swallowed. "I made you small so I could look grown." June did not reach for him. She sat with her hands folded, looking at the son who had finally stopped trying to sound better than what he had done. Evan wiped his cheek with the heel of his hand. "I'm sorry," he said. "Not because you left, not because dinner went badly, or Dad embarrassed me, or Claire's mad. I'm sorry I used the person who had done the most for me as the safest person to humiliate." June's fingers tightened. "That's closer," she said. Evan nodded. "I believe you." His shoulders dropped, but June continued before relief could carry him somewhere easier. "Believing you doesn't put us back where we were. I know. Do you?" "I think so." "That isn't the right answer." He looked at her. "The right answer is that you'll find out," she said. "You'll find out the next time you need something. The next time you're embarrassed. The next time I say no and you decide whether my no is an injury to you." Evan stared at the floor. June's voice softened. I love you. I have loved you through every selfish, thoughtless thing you've done, including things neither of us remembers anymore. That doesn't mean love is supposed to erase the evidence. I'm not asking you to erase it. You asked me to move on before you understood what moving on required. I did. You sent me turkey. He covered his face. I know. It wasn't even good turkey. You didn't eat it. Patrice knows that hotel. A laugh escaped him, wet and embarrassed. June smiled too, then shook her head. Your father sent it back like he was refusing ransom. I was supporting you, I said. You were staging a border dispute. Evan looked at me. You sent it back? You knew that. I thought the driver couldn't find the house. Your mother said she didn't want it. He asked while the driver was holding it, June said. That's fair, Evan told me. You stay out of this. The three of us laughed. It did not fix anything. It made room for the next sentence. Evan turned back to June. Do you forgive me? She studied him for a long time. Yes, she said, his eyes closed. But listen carefully. Forgiveness is not permission to restore the old arrangement. I'm not going to organize everything again because you apologize beautifully. I understand. You probably don't. Mom, neither did I when I started saying no. He accepted that. June reached for his hand. Evan took hers with both of his, the way people hold something found after believing it lost. You said you needed me, she told him. You were allowed to need me. I know. No, you thought needing me made you weak, so you hid it, and I made hiding easy because I liked being necessary. That wasn't your fault. It was my choice. You were helping. Yes. And sometimes I helped long past, the point when helping was good for either of us. Evan looked at me. I knew better than to rescue him, but I also knew the conversation included me whether I spoke or not. I liked the arrangement, I said. Your mother made all of us look more thoughtful than we were. June glanced at me. I'm not turning your apology into mine, I added. I'm saying you learned some of it honestly. Evan nodded. I learned the jokes from you, that too. And the part where staying calm means you win. I don't know what you're talking about. June and Evan gave me the same look. That was a joke, I said. It wasn't a good one, June replied. Apparently we're retiring a lot of material. Evan squeezed his mother's hand. What do I do now? He asked. Tonight? Yes. Go help your wife clean the kitchen. He laughed. I mean, after tonight. Call me. I do call you. Call when you don't need anything. What do we talk about? June smiled sadly. That is the work, Evan. He nodded. And when I say no, you say no. What if I'm disappointed? You'll survive. What if you're disappointed? I'll survive too. He leaned toward her. June opened her arms. The hug was not careful this time. Evan folded around her, face pressed against her shoulder. She held the back of his head with one hand, and for a moment I could see every age he had ever been, without mistaking any of them for the man responsible for what he did now. When they separated, June touched his wet cheek. Your dinner was good, she said. The sauce broke. I didn't say it was perfect. He laughed again. Kate appeared at the living room entrance with a dish towel over one shoulder. Are we allowed back in? Claire stood behind her. Evan looked at June. She nodded. You're allowed, he said. Kate inspected the three of us. Did anybody get disowned? Not tonight, I told her. Great. Claire put me in charge of leftovers, and I need supervision. June opened her mouth. Kate caught herself. I need a container, she corrected. Second cabinet left of the sink, Claire said. Kate pointed at her. See? Personal growth everywhere. June stayed on the sofa while they finished the kitchen. That was how her birthday ended. Not with a grand family embrace, but with Evan scraping plates, Claire wrapping cake, Kate searching the wrong cabinet, and June seated beside me with her shoes off. On the drive home, she held the wooden recipe box in her lap. Did you mean it? I asked. What? Forgiving him. Yes. That fast? It wasn't fast. No. She opened the box and touched the blank cards. I forgave him because he finally apologized for what he did instead of how it made him feel. I don't know if he'll change. He will. You don't know that. No. She closed the lid. He doesn't have to become a different person, she said. He has to become more responsible for the person he already is. That sounds difficult. It is. For all of us? She looked at me. Especially you. We drove home laughing. June's 6-month boundary ended without ceremony. There was no announcement and no return to service. On the first Sunday after it expired, Kate called and asked whether June wanted to have dinner. "Where?" June asked. "I don't know. I'm asking what you want." They chose a small Italian restaurant. Kate made the reservation. Evan continued calling. Some conversations lasted less than 5 minutes. Once, he told June about a bird that had flown into his office window, and then admitted he had no idea why he was telling her. "Because it happened to you," she said. "Oh, that's conversation." Another time, he asked for her roll recipe. June said, "No." "Forever?" he asked. "Today." He bought rolls. In July, June invited him over and took the recipe box from his birthday gift out of the pantry. "Do you want to learn the ham?" she asked. Evan studied her. "Do you want to teach me?" "Yes." "Do you think I need to learn it?" "Yes." "Which matters more?" She smiled. "Get the mustard." They spent an afternoon in our kitchen arguing about cloves. Evan wrote every instruction on one of the blank cards, including several things June insisted could not be measured. "A little. Until it smells right. You'll know." He circled that last one and wrote, "Unhelpful." June drew an arrow beneath it and added, "Ask nicely. I stayed out of their way." "Mostly." "Martin, rinse this pan," June called once. I did. She had asked me. That distinction stopped sounding ridiculous after I understood how long we had lived without making it. Kate began taking pottery with June once a month. She was better at centering clay and worse at accepting instruction, which delighted Patrice. Claire stopped smoothing over every uncomfortable exchange with Evan. Their marriage became louder for a while and, according to Claire, more honest. I called my brother without June reminding me. Ed still forgot my birthday card, but he came over in March with beer, apologized in person, and stayed through dinner. By December, the family had developed a habit of asking questions nobody could answer automatically. "What do you want? Do you have time? Are you offering, or do you feel obligated?" Sometimes the questions were irritating. Sometimes we answered dishonestly and had to try again. Nobody became perfect. That helped. Evan and Claire hosted Christmas again. The invitation arrived with assignments. Evan and Claire would handle the main meal. Kate would bring wine and dessert. I was responsible for ice, which felt pointed. June was asked to bring nothing. She called Evan. "I want to bring the ham." There was a pause. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Yes. You don't have to." "I know." "Do you want help?" "Yes." "Come over Christmas Eve." He did. On Christmas Day we arrived at 3, not 9 in the morning. Evan carried the ham inside. I carried the ice. June wore dark slacks and a red sweater. No apron waited for her. Diane was there again. When she saw June, color rose into her face, but June crossed the room and greeted her before the old embarrassment could turn into a new performance. The dining chairs remained where chairs belonged. The table runner was wrinkled. The rolls came from a bakery. Nobody died. Before dinner, June sat in the living room with a glass of white wine. Kate showed her a photograph of her latest crooked vase. Claire's father asked me whether we still lived in the same neighborhood. "Yes," I said. He waited for an explanation. I let him. In the kitchen, something clattered. June's head turned. Evan appeared in the doorway carrying a serving spoon. "Everything's fine," he said. "Did something break?" "One bowl." "Which bowl?" "Not yours." June began to rise. Evan did not tell her to sit. He did not rush to prove he could manage without her. He simply asked, "Do you want to help me find another one?" June looked at him. "Is that what you want?" "Yes." She considered the question, then handed me her wine. "I'll be back." They went into the kitchen together. A few minutes later, they returned carrying food between them. Evan placed the ham on the table. June put down a plain white bowl of green beans. Then she walked to the chair with her name above it and sat. Evan served her first. Dinner was late. The gravy separated. Kate forgot the dessert in her car, and I bought the wrong kind of ice. Nobody mistook June for anything except what she was. My wife came to Christmas as a guest, helped because she chose to, ate while the food was hot, and left the dishes to the people whose house they were in. On the drive home, she rested her hand on mine. "I had a nice Christmas," she said. So did I. You know what the best part was? The ham. I only made one thing. I lifted her hand and kissed it. For 41 years, I had called June the heart of our family. That Christmas, for the first time, I let her be a person sitting at its table.